So, today, we're going to have ourselves the loser semi-final game, who we'll play against. Well, I'll give you a second to close your ears in case you don't want spoilers, but it was Mini Yeti that lost out to Say My Name in the winners' finals. So, the winner of this series here as well will advance on, obviously, to the top three, which means they're in the prize winning positions, as it looks like they are going to get ourselves into the draft now. For some reason, Bongo just gave up host, which is a little bit weird. It's not a huge advantage. We've tried to set up the draft, so it's kind of somewhat balanced. Best of sevens, it won't be any bans for the civs. We still get a couple of map bans, of course, but for the civs there's no bans, and 8 civs picked by each player. Alright, kitchens. And yep, there we go. It'll be interesting to see what maps we do get selected here. I think Bongo tends to pick some of the more closed maps against strong opponents. Whether or not he still respects Unrestricted as a strong opponent, well, I guess we'll find out in a second. We'll see what he does ban. But usual maps that we see quite a lot. Oasis has been played quite a lot recently. It feels like Dark Forest just being banned by Bongo. Yeah, Oasis, Citadels comes up quite a lot. Continental's pretty popular. I feel like those are maybe the top 3. Sahara has been popping up. Ocean Rings now and again. Oh, and okay, Unrestricted does ban Citadel. So it'll be interesting to see if Bongo, like I said, maybe does pick Inside Out as one of his choices, or if he maybe goes to the water maps, or how, I don't know. Depends how he's feeling on the day, maybe, I don't know. I feel like Unrestricted's prefers the land maps, I feel like. Inland is picked by Bongo though. Okay, never mind. Maybe I'm just wrong. So we see Ksari stabbing up Mountain Blade in the corner. Maybe I should turn my notifications off for Steam. But yeah, Continental picked by Unrestricted. Oasis is picked by Bongo. So like I said, those 2 maps do seem to get picked fairly often in the map drafts these days. And what's going to be next from Restricted? Okay, Sahara is picked. And yeah, like I said, I don't really know what to predict maps-wise from these 2 players. I feel like they kind of are okay playing anything, for the most part. I feel like I remembered Unrestricted saying something about not being too happy with like ships and stuff like that, so I thought maybe he'd want to avoid those maps. But Ocean Ring does get picked up, so it's quite an interesting map. So quite a lot of different ways to play that map. It's always interesting to see what the players come up with on that one. And I think that was my controller disconnecting that noise there. I was playing some multiverses earlier. And Inside Out is picked in the end. Okay, interesting that Unrestricted picks that map. Again, sometimes I feel like it's just nice to have those maps in the pool, just because it means like it makes the Civ draft feel a little bit easier, because oftentimes if you just got a lot more open maps, it feels like you pick your first 3 picks and then the rest of the Civs feel a bit meh. There's quite a few Civs in the game that unfortunately aren't too strong on the open maps. But that said, if you can try and in longer series, if you can try and force like certain Civ matchups and stuff, then weaker Civs can sometimes perform quite well if you get yourself just into an okay matchup. Let's get ourselves into the Civ draft now. Like I said, no bans. First picks are blind, so potentially both players can pick the same first pick, which often these days, well, I say these days, it's basically always been Shang and Latvia, the top 2 picks usually. Occasionally Yamato sneaks in there when there's a decent amount of water maps. Just Yamato still feel like the king of the water maps, despite nerfs to some of their bonuses. Well, the nerf from the ship discount specifically. I feel like they probably should take away the discount applying to fishing ships, in my opinion. They added that, I think, maybe even at the start of Return of Rome. It didn't used to do that. I can't remember exactly when they did add it. It feels like they have a few too many bonuses on the water, with the docks being cheaper, the fishing ships being cheaper, and the warships being cheaper. I still feel like the Kings, even though there are still a few civs that can contest them early on, it just feels a little bit harder late in the game. Okay, Shang and Latvia are traded off. And sometimes it can be a bit of a 50-50. This is where, like, being the second player in this specific draft can sometimes be a bit bad, because if you both pick Shang, then your opponent can get the Latvia. Palmyran's picked up very early for Unrestricted. I know he's a big fan of the 16 Vil rush. Though again, I feel like I want to go and check the actual numbers on that, because in my head it feels like it shouldn't work. But anyway, Yamato, always just a very solid pick these days. Pretty much good on any map, really. Very good on the maps like Sahara, where scouts are very powerful unit to go in the early game, as well as just being really strong on the water maps as well. And Minoan's picked up by Bongo, and Unrestricted taking Karth and Persian, sort of the other two civs that often get picked up. Like Karth on Continental is a very usual pick there. The extra wood at the start can help you get that dock up earlier. Maybe even squeeze a fishing boat out if you're feeling brave early on. And Persian's just a strong early game civ. Obviously, Persians do fall off quite a bit later stages of the game, but if you can take advantage of the early game, it's still possible to get some quick wins with them. Egyptians picked up now by Bongo. There's still Phoenicians and Romans left. Romans is picked up. But yeah, Phoenicians feels like the next obvious pick to me, and I guess Inside Out, what does Unrestricted think he wants to play for Inside Out, I guess would be the question. He doesn't have any obvious civs to me. I feel like Unrestricted has a plan for Palmyrans on Ocean Ring. I don't know if that is where they will use it, but there Phoenicians are picked up. Potentially he could take something like the Hittites, if he wanted to try and do that on Inside Out. Hittites do feel a little bit risky on Inside Out against strong opponents, because you are still quite susceptible to slinger rushes in the Tool Age. Assyrians chosen, yeah, so like this point we're kind of just running out of civs, so it's just kind of whatever civs are left. Greeks, Macedonians, and then Babylonians, Sumerians are the two choices left, so which one's going to get left out? I feel like possibly Sumerians gets picked here. Okay, Babylonians, there we go. That's a little bit of a surprise for me. Like I said, I kind of prefer the best of 5 drafts, really, because I feel like best of 7, just all the civs get drafted. There isn't, unfortunately, enough civs in the game to make the last part BO7 drafts interesting for me, but it is what it is. Can't complain too much. So, I've not opened Capture Age, I've just realised, so I'm just going to quickly do that. As the players set up the lobby, I'll just get back to the draft so you can see that. So yeah, just for anyone that's just joined us, Unrestricted's map draft is Inside Out, Sahara, Continental, and he banned the Citadels map, and Inland, Oasis, and Ocean Ring for Bongo, with Dark Forest being banned. I think probably just to get that map out of the way. Just it's a little bit of a weird one to play. It's like you can like house block the bottleneck sometimes, but it's often very easy to sneak a villager through. It's just a bit of an awkward map to play in AOE 1. I think Black Forest in AOE 2 is a bit better, just because you can have palisade walls and stuff like that. But then, yeah, going back here, Shang and Latvia, like I said, traded off. Reasonably surprising that Palmyrans was picked so early. I don't know if both of the players have like Palmyran special ideas. That did give Yamato and Minoans to Bongo, which is obviously 2 very nice picks for water maps. Probably the top 2 tier civs for water maps, in my opinion. Phoenicians are still pretty good on water maps, and Karth and Persians can get decent starts. Who will win? How are you doing, Netquaker? I think we've got Unrestricted as the higher seeded player. though I feel like it could be quite a close series. I think it kind of depends a bit just who's playing better on the day, really. Oh, you're back in Bongo. Interesting, interesting. I think it should be quite close. I think there'll be games either way. One either way. And yeah, the players just setting up the lobby, so hopefully we'll be able to start in just a couple of minutes. Just checking Discord in case I've missed any quick messages. I think we're alright. I think we're pretty much good to go. Just waiting for Bongo to join the lobby by the looks of it. But what do I think the better draft is? I mean, Yamato and Owens just feels very strong to me. Obviously, like I said, Carthab can be pretty good on Continental. Just a strong start. Be interesting, maybe. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of where Palmyrans is going to be used. What the idea is there. Obviously, again, it's not here, but obviously Highlands is going to be the first map played, just as a reminder. Be interesting to see if we do just like see a Shang-Lak-Viat matchup on Highland, which has become so usual. Feels like an integral part to AOE1 tournament play at the moment. See that quite often, that matchup. Okay, looks like both players are in the lobby. We should be able to get this game started soon. Oh, yeah, a little spectate delay on the lobby as well from Unrestricted. He always likes to add a couple of minutes, which I think is quite nice because normally that means we can load into the game and just get right into the action straight away. Sometimes, see all the action. I should say. Sometimes you get enough like miss the first couple of minutes just because of loading time and how long it takes AOE2 Rex to recognise when the game's launched and stuff like that. They both lose. There's only winners in Age of Empires, KT. Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I said, if it goes full 7, it always, like I said, the long drafts get a little bit, you start getting some strange Civ matchups towards the end. Which sometimes is like, sometimes people do pick their lower Civs just to sort of like save their stronger Civs for later. It's Unrestricted streaming as well. Just have a look. Doesn't say streaming to me. Very nice. Alright, okay, looks like we're in. So, I'll mute the music and we'll get ourselves into game 1 of the losers semi-final. Like I said, winner of this series would advance into the top 3, which is the prize paying positions. So the money is on the line now, and it is indeed the age-old Shang versus Lak-Viat on Highland here. So both players coming out swinging with their strongest civs. Or at least for the Highland map, indeed. So this is going to be quite important to start off with. Obviously, you don't want to be, well, you do want to be winning with your stronger civs. It always feels a little bit rough when you throw out your strongest civ in a series and lose with it. It feels like you limit yourself a little bit in the rest of the draft. Tiny map, yep. It's on the ROTA versions of this map, it's basically the same as the 3v3 size map. It's like scaled up for the Rise of the Ancients maps. So it still will be the same as a 3-player standard map. Yeah, as the clock ticks down. Maybe 2 minutes was a little too much. Maybe we could have gone with 1 minute here instead of 2 for the spectator delay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Anyway, get ourselves into game 1, like I said. Switch to the capture age view. No, I've just realised I've changed the scene, but not actually changed it so I can see capture age myself. There we go, it's actually just taking a moment to load in there. So here we go. Like I said, a best of 7 series between Ardagula, which is Bongo. I might just change that to TakeawayBongo just really quick, just so it's a little bit less confusing for everyone. And we are a best of 7, and we'll return to map, and we'll get ourselves back up to speed real quick. So like I said, Bongo playing on the Latvia, and Unrestricted just going with the Shang straight away. Both players already going for the middle. Looks like Unrestricted is going to be a little bit early. I don't know if he quite... Oh, I did see that elephant. Ooh, I'm not sure what that's about. Unrestricted should have known that's not the central elephant. This means Bongo is going to be the first to the middle now. That was very odd by Unrestricted. Like, I know it can sometimes be a little bit disorientating, but like, it should be fairly... Ooh, okay. Both players have done exactly the same thing. That's unbelievable. You just run to the centre. You just run to the centre, guys. I guess, I don't know. It's like they both just assumed that they'd found the centre elephant, and they both tried to find... That is strange. But anyway, I guess Unrestricted did get there earlier. I mean, at least Bongo's going to get himself 1 elephant, and he has seen that one. I'm not sure what... Okay, he's going to target that. But Unrestricted gets 3. He's dropped aggro there. That's a little bit awkward in the little bottleneck here. Is he going to... Okay. Elephants marching 1 by 1. Hurrah, hurrah. Through they go. He's not going to do a gazelle push on the way through, is he? That's surely a bit greedy. No, he's just going to get there. Oh, he does grab that one, to be fair. And yeah, Bongo looks like he's going to push his gazelle. Oh, why did that run that way? I hate gazelle, man. I hate gazelle so much. I think it might be one of the things I hate the most about this game is pushing gazelle. It just... A little part of me dies every time a gazelle runs off in the wrong direction. But I mean, Bongo doing a pretty solid job, other than this one runaway. I don't know why that gazelle was running. It's almost like it was running from the elephant there. But yeah, house going in just to block that little entrance to that base there. Unrestricted actually has a very closed off area around his TC. So it'd actually be... I mean, it wouldn't give him loads of space, but if you could like wall here to here, here to here, and here, you'd still have the gold and an extra patch of berries inside. He's going to find that elephant now. So that's going to be nice for him. Village is coming forward. But yeah, looks like Bongo's base, I mean, reasonably covered on the sides, but quite exposed at the front and the rear as well. I mean, I guess it's probably not too difficult to wall here and here just to close off, but there's quite a bit more open at the front. But as I said, we do see the villager coming forward from Unrestricted. 18 pop. Are we going 18 pop up? Is he still making vills? Why can't I click that town centre? There we go. Okay, it's going to be 20 pop from both players. Yeah, 20 pop from both players. 0 seconds and only 1 second idle TC. Might have a couple... Oh no, there we go. Nice idle TC times. Obviously with Shang and Latvia. Both very strong Stone Age civs. And Bongo sending his villager out a little bit later. Means potentially Unrestricted can be able to find his opponent first. Unfortunately, that long tree line is kind of throwing him off the scent here. And yeah, it looks like he's sort of trying to look in this position here. So it's going to be a little bit off the mark. And it'll be interesting to see if Bongo has much more joy trying to find his opponent. Unrestricted just thinks he just needs to get the barracks down. And both players' barracks going out down pretty much. Okay, a little bit faster for Unrestricted still. But yeah, both players not knowing exactly where their opponent is just yet. First clubman in the queue for both players. And yeah, okay, the second barracks going up at home. That's quite interesting. So I guess maybe Unrestricted not feeling too confident to go with a second barracks forward just because he's not 100% certain where his opponent is, feeling the need to play a little bit defensively. 1 second difference in the time up. Wall instantly research for Unrestricted. So yeah, he feels like he's on the back foot. And Bongo just going for those AXA and armor upgrades. The clubman is going to get slipped through. And there's no needle working yet. Archery range going down at home. And villagers are building a wall. Villagers getting the traps out. Needle work coming in now. And that clubber does have the armor in. AXA not quite in yet though. And I think that archery range is going to get somewhat delayed. A lot of villagers being pulled to try and finish this off. Microing the villager away. Grabbing the elephant at the same time. I think he's going to be alright here. Yep. Doesn't lose a villager. Just kind of a little bit of idle time before us. Double archery range going up for Bongo here. And he's going to try and go through that house there. And Unrestricted, maybe a little bit slow. Okay, there we go. I was going to say to get the wall down. I think there still is maybe potentially a gap at this bottom side. It's a little bit hard to see without small trees on. Okay, actually I think that tree there is blocking it off. So I believe that is fully walled there now. And yeah, AXA just coming in for Unrestricted now. Let's have a look. Has he even found his opponent yet? He's not. He's still not found his opponent. So the clubbers soon to be AXAs. A little bit out of position here. And like I said, it's Unrestricted. It's being pressured at home at the moment. And it's interesting he did a wall there. I thought it would have been quite... Maybe he just didn't feel like he had time to shut off that area there. But he's put himself in this little boxed area for the time being. And he's building a few more buildings to try and block out. Although the villagers kind of trapping themselves at the minute. It feels the need to build... delete the house, I should say. And needs to get those couple of holes in the wall plugged up. But Bongo kind of just chilling at home at the moment. Looks like we have a little bit of mingling. In fact, 3 kills for Unrestricted. I guess they just caught out the villagers there that were coming forward. I will go back and check that in a moment when there is potential... Well, I don't know. I was going to say a gap in the action. I don't know if there is going to be, but this is really bad for Bongo. He's losing so many villagers. Was he just trying to go for those 4 berries? What was the idea here? But he's lost 6 vills just from... Oh, okay, they were probably on the berries there. Unrestricted building a house there just so he can spot any villagers going back on the berries. That wall hasn't gone up. So it's actually... I'm pretty sure that's open on this right side. Or is it not? I mean, the gazelle's dead there. Handful of axes in bowmen in defense for Unrestricted. Bongo does have the bigger army, but he is significantly behind on eco now. And I guess he must have just caught out the berry workers there. Like I said, I'll go back and check in a moment. Villagers a little bit all over the top of each other here. Ideally, Unrestricted get a storage pit maybe a foot close to the back. Archery range is going to go down. So 8 clubbers, which are... Where are those? Somewhere on the outside. 6 bows already in for TakeawayBongo. And villagers are being pulled forward in a desperation move. Just try and get these slingers down. So the slingers don't have any armor. So the villagers do the full 4 damage with the bone needlework in. And Unrestricted's going to lose a decent number of villagers. This is an absolute cluster F of a situation. What a ridiculous fight that was. That's all of Bongo's army, and it's 18-18 now in terms of eco. I don't think I've seen anything like that. That was absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, I'm going to go quickly back. I think it's probably about here. Okay, it's a little bit early, too late still. And he literally just catches the villagers just as the granary's going down. I said those axes were out of position, but somewhat lucky for Unrestricted. Bongo felt safe pushing out, and just a whole bunch of these villagers getting caught off it. And that's relieved a bit of pressure for the time being for Unrestricted. Again, he lost a lot of villagers just trying to defend that position. And in fact, like I said, I feel like we've got a moment again. I'm just going to absolutely just send all the villagers in. I mean, he was heavily behind on eco. I don't think it was stone mining in. Stone mining wasn't in. Okay, I feel like if stone mining was in there, the slingers probably do enough damage to win this for Bongo. The axe is coming in from the behind as well, so he sort of sandwiched Bongo in. Just the villagers just boning away. And what a ridiculous fight that was. Oh, no armor in for the bowman as well. So there was, yeah, a lot of upgrades were missing for Bongo there. No stone mining, no leather armor for the archers. And now we get ourselves, I think we're back to live. Let me just fast forward. Okay, we're a little bit behind. I won't fast forward too much so we don't, just to prevent missing any action. But yeah, Unrestricted's got himself back onto military a lot quicker. And now Bongo is exposed at home. I'm pretty sure stone mining's still not in. There's only 2 slingers anyway. And these ranged units are going to be wrapping around, going to catch some of these. Yeah, but a whole bunch of villagers going to die here, even with needle working in. A whole bunch of axes here as well, so this is going to be another big amount of damage onto Bongo's eco, down to what will be 14 vills if this villager goes down, which I imagine it will do with another couple of axe hits. In fact, yeah, literally just peels off and just lets one axe finish the business. And there he goes. And this is looking pretty dire straits for Bongo now. Did manage to... Was there a villager that got picked off there, or was it a bow? I'm just going to... Sorry, from all the pausing going back, I'm a little bit behind, so I'm just going to try and do double speed. Restricted, just trying to get those walls up as much as possible. Bongo on the push again, but Unrestricted is ahead 8 villagers now. And I think we're back to live now. Caught back up again. Another couple of axes just looping around, trying to find some loose villagers hither or thither. And Unrestricted, meanwhile, has got himself set up on his farms. Where are Bongo? Where's he getting food from? Where am I not seeing it? Okay, he's on the berries at the front here. But when those berries run out, it's going to be a little bit tough, I think, for Bongo. He does have some wood stored up, so can put down a handful of farms. It's going to be a little bit another battle breaking out here. Woodworking coming in for Unrestricted now. How many bows we got here? Just 9 bows. Easily able to win the fight. One dude getting a little bit left behind. Another storage pit goes up. Reinforcements do come in for Bongo. There's a couple of slingers from Unrestricted, which are going to be able to tank the damage quite well. But it looks like Bongo's actually getting a pretty nice trade here, but the slingers are still alive. In fact, there is actually one slinger still alive for Bongo there that I hadn't noticed. I think that was actually a pretty good trade for Bongo overall, though. You can see the KD very even still, but again, Unrestricted just way ahead on eco. So maybe not the best, get the best trades on the military front, but he's just going to be able to keep the numbers up better. Maybe a couple of units getting caught out as the reinforcements try to come in. A little bit micro moves, but okay, actually it does manage to pull that fight back. I was going to say that it was going to lose all the bows there, but there we go. Nice little micro from both the players there. And I think those berries have run out now. Okay, so found some of Unrestricted's leftover gazelle. There's axes being a menace again. Market only just going up for Bongo now. So I was saying about maybe getting to farms. He doesn't even have a market yet. Somehow Bongo still just about in this game. Just Bowman just patrolling back and forth there, trying to spy any villagers popping out. Let's have a reasonable force trying to punch through the front door now. And obviously Shang higher HP walls to make them a little bit more annoying to break through. This Bowman is going to deny the stone from Unrestricted there. don't know if that was just literally just for slinger production, or if he wanted to add in some towers or something. I guess he's running out of stone to just add in walls at all. But a tower is coming down. Unrestricted is going to be forced elsewhere. He's not going to have the stone himself to tower in response. Stable going up now, in fact. Interesting. I guess he feels now there's a decent mass of bows still there. And he needs a unit to just deal with the ranged units. And it feels kind of strange. The score's quite close, considering. Obviously, like, still only 17 vills for Bongo. This game, maybe Unrestricted feels like Bongo's in a better position that we obviously can see it is. But like I said, the score, okay, is starting to widen up a bit now. I feel like maybe the eco lead is showing itself a bit now. So we see a bit of micro back and forth. I don't know, woodworking, yeah, okay, woodworking is in. Stone mining, still not in. But yeah, Unrestricted is still going to be forced away by those slingers. And like I said, he's adding in those scouts now. I don't know if he has all the upgrades, let me just check. Let's have a little look. He is missing the, in fact, yeah, the archer armor and the cavalry armor. Obviously, both these units do range damage, so that doesn't necessarily need that just now. And Bongo just sneaking around with these vills. If this got found, he'd be like, I think he'd just be out of the game in an instant. Excuse me, another tower going down though. And where are those scouts? Oh, well, they've already gone in. Delete a couple of wall sections. Did he delete that as well, just to get those units out? And he does clear up entirely. We'll have a little action replay there because I missed the moment. Yeah, he deleted his market to get his units through there. And a couple of cavalry able to sort of tank up the hits, take out those slingers. Very quick clear up in the end. And he's going to lose a few units to the towers there. And he is actually open, of course, now. But yeah, he doesn't have the access to the stone to get the slingers to bring down these towers. I guess with a few axes in, yeah, maybe you can clear that up. Oh, okay, is he going to find... He's going to find the berry workers now. 5 bowmen. There is a tower there that Bongo could hide in. There's no archer or armor in. The villagers maybe could have fought, but one villager just go down. There's obviously only space for 5 vills there. I think the tower is going to take down most of these archers, and there we go. Bongo popping out. Going to be able to clear these up. But that's all of Bongo's food eco, and he's still on 17 vills. 20 vills ahead. It feels like ridiculous that like Bongo's even be able to do anything. Okay, the reinforcements are in. That's going to be GG. That's got to be GG now. That's got to be game. There's no way now. This village, the traveling villagers, the hunter-gatherers, finally been found out. Surely it's ridiculous for Bongo to play this on. So I guess I pop back a bit, but you can see so all the yellow dots flooding forward now. Only 8 villagers left. I'm not really sure why Bongo is playing on at this point. Maybe it just feels like he needs... I mean, it's been a reasonably long game at this point. I was going to say just like a bit more warming up in the hands. Get the blood flowing. Let's have one last attack. It looks on the top side here. And maybe once this army gets defeated, that's the bell toll. The GG will be called. And the scout there just tanking a few hits as the rest of the army pushes through. The towers are going to be annoying for Unrestricted. But yeah, another bunch of villagers gets caught out. 4 villagers left. I feel like this is a bit just like... Just tap out at this point, Bongo. Come on, man. Could be a long series. There's no need to drag this one out. But yes, it's been a very chaotic game. Obviously, Unrestricted didn't quite hit the mark with his initial barracks. It felt like he had to play defensive. But then it was just these villagers on the granary there getting caught out that really flipped the game, and GG is finally called. Unrestricted goes 1-0 up. Oh, what a crazy game that was. You want to send bits. I've not got the thing set up, Papa. You gotta. I appreciate the intention though, but yeah, I think the game was basically decided. I'm going a bit too fast here. Sorry. Where was it? I'm going a bit too early. There we go. I've gone too early and I've gone too far. Basically, just in this moment here, Bongo felt that it was safe enough to go out for that granary. And Unrestricted literally just sees it as it's going up. And then, yeah, the house block as well. I thought that was just to, like I said, it was to sort of just check the berries after, but I think it was kind of to block the villagers in a little bit as well. And that just made the game very difficult for Bongo, but I mean, he still gave it a good shake. Pretty soon after, we had this ridiculous battle here where how many villagers got pulled to this? There's 20 vills in this spot here. The archery range went down. I'll just fast forward a little bit. I'll just skip forward. A little bit more. We'll get there, boys and girls. But yeah. Because yeah, we've only got 3 axes and 1 bow in this position. 4 axes with this one here. 23 vills just sent into the blender. I guess, yeah, a few reinforcements at the back there as well. And that, like I said, it evened up the eco count, but Bongo lost all of his military. And what a ridiculous fight that was. And then, yeah, it was Unrestricted who had the resources spare to, well, obviously the Shang cheaper vills as well. It's just much easier to keep the vill production going. And then, yeah, Bongo just did a pretty insane job. Like at this point, that was only halfway through the game at this point. Went on for another 15 minutes. I think the game was pretty much over by sort of around, yeah, this kind of point. Especially when these villagers finally got caught out. Unrestricted just had too much of a lead. But yeah, Bongo was still able to pressurize for a bit. But I think Unrestricted kind of just playing fairly safe. Just trying to make sure not to make too many mistakes, just getting that military numbers up. Yeah, there we go. Game 1. Like I said, 1-0 to Unrestricted. And looks like, yep, they're just setting up the lobby for Game 2. So I'll quickly go back to the draft, and it's going to be Oasis straight away for the next map. So the Shang won up against the Latviats, and Oasis has been picked by Bongo. So Oasis, possibly we see Yamato, probably we see Persians. It'd be interesting though actually, because yeah, I suspect Minone's for Ocean Ring and Yamato would have felt quite at home on Continental. But then I don't know, I'm not sure what Bongo picks here. Like I said, I feel like Persians should probably be the pick from Unrestricted here. I guess you could play Persians Sahara as well. But I feel like, yeah, Persian is a pretty nice pick on the Oasis map. But yeah, again, Bongo, I'm not really sure if he wants to use the Yamato at this point. I mean, he might even want to save Yamato for Sahara. I mean, like this is why Yamato is just like so good in sim drafts, because it's just like such a good pick on so many maps. But okay, they're already in. So I will speculate no longer, and we shall get ourselves into Game 2. And it is, in fact, the Persians against Yamato. So Bongo does feel the need to pull that Civ out pretty early in the draft. And I've just realised I'm not quite out of the last lobby. So I'm just going to have to quickly do that before I launch us into the next game. Got too excited. I got a little bit ahead of myself there. And we do have like a quick minute left as we get ourselves into Game 2. Like I said, using the Yamato quite early on. In fact, I'm going to quickly go back to the draft, just to have a think about what that leaves Bongo left. I mean, he still has the Romans which can be okay in water maps with some of their water savings, but obviously it feels much weaker than something like the Phoenicians, and obviously it has the Minoans again as well for Ocean Ring or the other map. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, like I say, how the Civ picks go as we get deeper into the series. 10 seconds left on this map, and like I said, Persian's just very nice Civ on this map with just how open Oasis usually is. And if you can grab yourself quite a few extra elephants, that's always quite nice. And we'll get ourselves into the capture age view. And let's have a look around, see what we've got here. And yeah, very open base for Bongo here. I mean, you could like seal off this side, but he's... Oh, I think that's pretty much as open as it comes. I mean, it's still pretty open base for Unrestricted as well. And both of these civs pretty good at the old scout rush. Bongo strong Oasis. Well, yeah, I mean, he's going to have to play on his A game, I think, here. I do think the Persians are actually slightly better on the scout rush than the Yamato, just because the Persians have the better Stone Age, so just they can get to the Tool Age a bit quicker. But like once you're in the Tool Age, obviously the cheaper archery range as well as the cheaper stable should let the Yamato catch up. It's just whether or not Bongo can withstand that first wave of attack from Unrestricted. Presumably the Persians should be able to get, like I said, the faster working hunters should give the Persians an advantage in the Stone Age. Whereas Yamatos do not have a Stone Age bonus on land maps anymore. Of course, they used to have the faster moving villagers back in DE. But I think with a couple of bonuses when the Return of Rome came out, they took away bonuses that were shared by civs. So it's like obviously the Assyrians still have the faster moving villagers, and they thought maybe make that bonus a bit more unique to Assyrians. Because as well, the Minoans used to have the extra food on, the extra food on farms, which the Sumerians get, and which Minoans that got changed to faster working farmers instead. So still sort of, I was going to say similar bonus, but actually having more food on your farms is actually a wood bonus, whereas the Minoans bonus is now a food bonus. But anyway, I'm getting a little bit distracted. And now we do see. Is this just a little bit of scouting for an elephant, or is this starting an early move on the map? But like you can see here, 6 seconds idle time has creeped in for the Yamato player. I don't know if that's just not clicking the vills in time, or if it was just that he didn't have enough food at some point. Wasn't paying exact attention to when that happened. The Restricted's just pushed his gazelle. I don't think he's managed to find any elephants yet, unless there was one here early on that I didn't pay attention to. That's one at the back, which is in a slightly awkward place to find. So there's one here that he's going to find now. But yeah, the elephant's a little bit far away from his initial base. There's another one there. Obviously, that's one of the things about the Persian bonus is like you have to find the hunt to get the most out of it in the first place, which is, I feel like when in DE they were a little bit more unreliable, because sometimes I think in DE, if I remember correctly, the map spawns were a little bit more random, so sometimes it'd be a little bit harder to find the hunt on some maps. Yeah, I think the elephant spawn's not been the kindest to Unrestricted. Maybe he finds his little gazelle patch here. I don't know if he's going to have the patience to push that. But yeah, Unrestricted is ever so slightly faster to click tool, both players 20 vills. It's only 13 seconds though, so that's not bad for Bongo. Like I said, Yamato not having any eco, but where is that elephant going? That was a little bit odd. Don't know why it started turning around there. That's a little bit unfortunate for Bongo there. It's going to be a little bit of time wasted just going back and forth between the TC. Villager is going the wrong way round for both players, in fact. Artifact for Bongo, though, is going to give him a little bit of an advantage for the scouting for the time being. In fact, Bongo Has he sent another villager? Is he going to send this villager down? It looks like he's already backing out on going forward. That's quite, yeah, that's an interesting manoeuvre. Did Unrestricted find that elephant there? I think he did, yeah, he's got quite a few around his base now. So he's still going to be able to get a good amount of value out of his hunting bonus. So that said, he's only got 5 villagers on food for the time being. Barracks is down forward. Did Bongo spot that? I didn't quite spot that. I don't know if he maybe saw some of the gazelle moving around though. But barracks did get built at home for Bongo in the end. And I don't know exactly why he decided against. Maybe just decided it was going to be too late to go for the forward. By the time he got the villager there and backed out on it. Did find another elephant for his troubles. But again, like I said, going to be restricted on the attack. In fact, that's already stable. That threw me off. Barracks is at home. House, might as well finish the house, I think. Get that done. A couple of little taps with the hammer. Off we go. Might lose the villager for that, actually. Maybe it wasn't worth it. But, yeah, archery range. Interesting choice of going for the archery range first. Like I said, obviously Yamato's, both these buildings are 50 wood cheaper, so he is able to put up the stable as well. But yeah, I think he should have expected his opponent to go scouts early on. That said though, Unrestricted has only gone for the 1. Maybe hasn't really got the food eco. He's only got a couple of elephants left. In fact, he's storage pitting those gazelle that I mentioned earlier, instead of doing the old push. So actually, it's been a fairly... I mean, we're getting a little bit of stick work back and forth. But it's actually been a fairly slow early tool age in the end. Restricted maybe just not having the food eco set up to really get that push going. Obviously, Scout's a very expensive unit. Doesn't quite manage to pick off that vill there. Well, looks like yeah, Bongo must have picked off that villager wherever it was. But yeah, like I said, Unrestricted only had like about 5 villagers on food as he was sort of aging up. He's gone for the double archery range at home. So yeah, it's quite interesting that the players both sort of didn't really fully commit to that. I mean, I guess Bongo is on 3 scouts now, 4 scouts in fact. But Unrestricted felt a little bit almost like half-arsed without trying to sound bad, but like I said, I think he just didn't have the food eco to back it up. And tower is going to go up to defend the gazelle. The scout comes in, fully upgraded. It's a little bit of a menace. Unrestricted does have needlework in. Looks like... I'm not sure why we're not pulling all the scouts together here. Obviously, a couple of them on pretty low HP now. Where's the 4th scout? There it is, just coming in now. Tower is up. Again, you can fit 5 villagers in there for a quick defense. Try and keep those villas safe. And a wave of bows coming forward now. So yeah, I think at this point, I mean, Bongo is a couple of villagers ahead, 1 villager kill. At this point, you've got to start thinking the game. Like I said, the Persians should be stronger in the very early game. But from this point on, the bonuses, I mean, you've still got a little bit of hunt left, but when that runs out, Persians kind of just go back to being a generic civ, and the Yamato should start being able to be in the driving seat. Bows going to be fended off, but the extra scouts in there. 1 Axer is not going to be able to hold against that many scouts, and Restricted is forced to back off. There are more Axes in the queue, but the village is going to be vulnerable here now. Yeah, another villager goes down. I'm surprised Unrestricted hasn't pulled these villagers away. The villager kind of just caught in limbo there. One of the scouts does get picked off. But yeah, again, I think a villager sort of mistakenly clicked in the military units there. Axer trying to chip away when he can, get the hits in against the scouts. And Unrestricted does have a good number of bows now to push this back, as well as having the high ground advantage he had on the top there. Yeah, Lonely Stable looking a little bit obsolete at this point, on the absolute limit for resources. 35 villagers now for Bongo. Got himself set up nicely with farms already. And woodworking coming in for both players. And Unrestricted heavily on the stone at the moment, interestingly. I don't know if that's literally just to give the villagers... I mean, that... interesting. Maybe he's just going to go tower defense mode. And just try and get himself set up nicely. But, as we can see, he's quite heavily behind on villager count. So he kind of needs to be going on the aggressive to try and even that out. Like I said, Yamato kind of only really gets stronger as the game goes on, whereas the Persian bonuses feel somewhat mediocre outside of the early game. It's just... Ooh, okay, little scout, get a couple of punches in. Okay, the scout... Ooh, I thought it was going to trap itself in that little hole there, but does squeak out literally 1 HP. Survives to scout another day. But yeah, just towers going up to defend. Stone mining coming out as well. Villagers are shifted off stone now. A handful are left there. But yeah, only 7 vills on food at the moment. And it's not really the tidiest of farms around his base, and obviously, yeah, the house a bit on the granary as well. Might be forced to build another granary. Did find another berry patch at the back there, which now runs out. But it feels like Bongo possibly be able to get himself the resources to click bronze. And he's, like I said, definitely in a good position here. I mean, if with the scouts, you don't really need to take a pitched battle in the middle of the map. You can just ignore the fight, but he is going to take it. I think it is on even ground on the top of the hill here. All the axes going to get picked off. Unrestricted going to take out the bows in return. I think the scout should be able to clear this up. 1 axer is left. Let's get a little bit of extra damage done. Both players are going to lose all the bows, but that's going to leave the scouts left over. And yeah, the scouts easily going to be able to clear this up. Unrestricted started making some slingers, but yeah, he's going to have to make axes to defend again. Like I said, Bongo didn't really need to take that. When you've got the scouts, you can't just like run off and force your opponent to chase you. But I guess he just felt strong in the moment, and like I said, he did lose all his bows, but he won the fight overall. Still has a handful of scouts left over. Towers, this tower's a little bit, I guess that was defending the berries there. Another tower just going to go down. And a storage pit. I guess, yeah, just a little bit more efficient on the wood line there. Slingers trying to come forward. Stone mining is already in. Woodworking in for the bows though, so they can kite the slingers if you're very, very vigilant. But yeah, Bronze Age has been clicked now by Bongo. Gold mining coming in, and I imagine it's got... Oh, okay, he's already on the gold here. I was looking at his main gold there, and I was like, there's nothing there! All the villagers on the gold down here. And I think... I'm not sure if Unrestricted will tap out straight away. There's a possibility he does, as he's quite a long ways off. Like I said, he just hasn't really had his food eco really set up properly for most of this game. He is getting the farm set up now. Like I said, those very messy farms. And yeah, he's going to lose all the units in the middle of the map here. I think with this now, maybe GG will just be called. One Bronze Age. As Unrestricted is not going to have anything to stop the first few waves of the Yamato cavalry. A couple of villagers probably going to get picked off here as well. And I think this is going to be the 1-1. Do we see a GG? Not just yet. Not just yet. But Bongo is still 5 villagers ahead, and that's even including the Bronze Age aging up. I mean, he's still fairly open at home. And I mean, if Unrestricted could, I mean, yeah, he's clicking to bronze now, but if you could maybe make a handful of sneaky scouts and get him in the back. But you can see the first wave of cavalry already coming forward. Nobility straight away as well. Not messing around. He's going to dive under the tower, but those villagers just hop inside. Pesky Vills. Villagers going to go on a run here. But yeah, he's got nothing to hold ground really against the cavalry advanced. Against the cavalry's advance is what I'm trying to say there. And the last of the Tool Age army is going to get picked off. And again, a bit similar to Bongo in Game 1, Unrestricted maybe should have tapped out at this point. But he's going to keep going for a little while longer. And I think this is all but over. Unrestricted trying to get himself on the gold. Obviously the Persians can go with the camels to try and reply. But I think he's not going to have much left of a base by the time he hits the Bronze Age. So this tower's being a little bit annoying for Bongo. All of the eco momentarily idle there. Well, the gold eco I should say. Yeah, it doesn't even have the gold for a singular camel at the moment. Hiding away in the towers still. Just villagers being picked off left, right and centre. The one is called and GG 1010. Like I said, it just felt like, if I go all the way back, it just felt like Unrestricted just didn't have the food eco to support the forward. He built the barracks at home and just went with the forward stable. I thought this was a barracks when it first went down, which massively confused my brain. Should have known though, because it was Tool Age when he started building it. But yeah, I was paying attention to this villager and seeing whether or not he spotted the stable. But yeah, just not enough food really. Added in a couple of clubs. And got the tool working upgrade in. I mean, he still had a couple of elephants at this point, but obviously that's still only 300 food. Like I said, maybe just wasn't able to find enough elephant at the start there. Made the one scout. I'm pretty sure it was only the one scout. Maybe it was two that he made at the start. I can't exactly remember. I think it was only one. And that villager did get caught out there. But yeah, Bongo just able to get himself set up into this Tool Age, and like I said, Persians should be slightly quicker, but then Yamato, once they get themselves set up, they're probably the stronger of the two civs. But yeah, going back to what I said right before the game started though, that does mean that Bongo no longer has the Yamato available in his draft, which was definitely one of his strongest civs. Persians is kind of more specific to certain maps. They can be used on some water maps, they're okay. They're sort of like a second tier map civ. If you can play against one of the water map civs, I should say. If you can play some of those weaker water civs, they can do quite well. I think they're like the Minoans, Yamato and Phoenicians probably are still stronger. But let's go back to the draft, is what I'm trying to find in this moment, as I'm trying to do two things at once. And we saw the Persians lose up against the Yamato. The next map is going to be Sahara. So it'll be interesting now to see what the picks are. Because like I said, Yamato is usually quite a nice pick for Sahara. But then Yamato is also quite a pick for Conti. And for the Ocean Ring. But obviously Bongo could only pick that civ once. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what both players actually pick here, to be honest. I feel like Carthaginian and Phoenicians would be Conti and Ocean Ring for Unrestricted. Yeah, it's a little bit of a tough one. Like I said, when you just go for the deeper series, you've squeezed a bit in the map pool. I'm just going to restart Capture Age to get rid of the firebug. Okay, actually, they've already started the game, so they'll just get us in. Where am I going? There we go. But yeah, like I said, we're quite interested to see what the picks are. Okay, yeah. And like I said, it is an interesting pair. It's the old Archer Civ Battle Royale. With I pressed the wrong button. I pressed the capture age button. As we get the Hittites versus the Assyrians. Personally, I feel like Hittites are just a better version of Assyrians, in my humble opinion. I feel like the +1 attack bonus is just better than the faster attacking units. Obviously, the Assyrians do have a very, 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 very small eco edge with their faster moving villagers. And also it can be quite good for forwarding villagers as well, I guess. Get that forward villager in a little bit quicker. But objectively speaking, the Hittite chariot archer is just more powerful than the Assyrian one, especially as the Hittites get nobility and the Assyrians do not. And also just having that quicker and cheaper wheel tech, which just means if you can get to the Bronze Age, you can get those chariots out in the field really nice and quickly. But sometimes these two civs kind of get trapped in the tool age a bit, just because they don't. Obviously, neither civ has a very strong eco. So it'll be interesting to see how this game gets played out. I mean, I've seen Say My Name play Assyrians, and it'll just go to tool age and just put down a stable straight away, and just go stable opening with Assyrians, and just try and get their jump on his opponent doing that. But obviously both players not with a slinger civ, so neither player needs to consider that in the equations. And yeah, very open map again for Unrestricted, the front of his base. Not really going to be able to be walled up too easily, I would not have thought. And Bongo's base, fairly similar. And I feel like that's a lot of straggler trees. Do you normally get that many straggler trees? Is that? I guess maybe that's not a TC straggler. I thought you only used to get like 3 or 4. Maybe it's just this map and I'm not remembering correctly. But yeah, we'll see if either of the players do go through the central elephant. I think maybe it was Mini Yeti that was said about how it's not normally worth going for these, or I think he said they're a bit of a bait, just because your TC on this map tends to be quite close to the edge of the map, so it's quite a long time spent sending the villager all the way out and all the way back again. It's usually just better to grab your Gazelle, is what I'm told by the top tier players. Fortunately, Bongo's Gazelle right up against the edge of the map there, and that's going to be very annoying for him. Sometimes you can get a little bit lucky and just tuck that villager just in the back there, but sometimes they do Gazelle things and just don't do at all what you want them to do. In the meantime, Unrestricted is still pushing his Gazelle. And like I said, neither player has gone for those central elephants for the time being, at least. Maybe as Assyrians, like I said, the faster villagers, maybe you could afford to go that. And if Bongo had gone for it, he probably would have found those extra 2. Obviously, that's just complete chance, and he doesn't know that. But it's all speculation. And yeah, it looks like the Gazelle not behaving very nicely for Unrestricted there. I'm going to get this guy in. There we go. Always annoys me when he gets near and then the Gazelle's like, nah, I'm off now. The Gazelle sagas continue. House goes up. Only 1 second idle TC for Bongo at the moment, so both players doing quite nicely there. Fairly clean Stone Age for both players at the moment. And like I said, it'll be interesting to see what the approach is in the Tool Age. See if one of the players maybe feels brave enough to try and sneak a fast bronze in. It would be quite cheeky to do that, but like on this map it's one of the harder ones to like find your opponent early on, just because again the distance, and you don't know exactly where your opponent's going to spawn. Like I feel like when Bongo's here, it's possible to like for Unrestricted to spawn anywhere from like around here to around here in all different versions of this map I've seen be played. Games of this map, I should say. So Unrestricted tags an elephant. But yeah, both players doesn't look like going for any forward play at the moment. Little villagers being tucked in the storage pit there. It was nice little efficiency for that one villager. Keep them protected from any early axes as well. Oh, okay, I'd missed this villager, so I was wrong. But again, Bongo just in completely the wrong place at the moment. Like I said, it can be difficult to find your opponent. But both players going up on 20, so nobody going greedy. It'll be interesting to see if Bongo just does the old slap down a barrack somewhere just to get it down, or if he gives up and puts it at home a bit like he did on the last map. And barracks is just going to go up home for Unrestricted. I feel like players have got a little bit better about that. I feel like in series I've cast in the past, they've just players get behind them. They still go for the forward barracks. Then sometimes it's better to just accept. Yeah, there we go. When it's just better to put the barracks at home. Like I've seen people do this, and they'll just like put a barracks down like here, and it's just like your barracks is in no man's land doing nothing. You just wasted 125 wood. But yeah, so I'm quite pleased to see both players going for the more sensible play, just warding off any potential aggression that could have happened. Obviously, they don't see what we see. And okay, so stable kind of goes up in no man's land, but that's a bit more forgivable because obviously the scout, very fast unit, so that doesn't matter too much if that was out of position. But yeah, so like I said, Bongo going for the sort of say my name approach of just slapping down as stable as the Assyrians. And no axes have been made by Unrestricted, and he's got double archery range straight away as well. Obviously, these are Hittite bowmen and will have the +1 attack straight away, which kind of negates the 1 pierce armor that the scout has. So if Unrestricted can get up to a decent number of bows before the scouts come in, then he'll be in a decent position. Market coming up pretty nice and early as well. Doesn't have the wood set up to get farms out yet, but does have a couple of elephant to still go off for the time being. And villager still having a little look around. A scout, like I said, he looks like he's way off the mark, but I'm pretty sure it's possible, like I said, for Unrestricted to like spawn anywhere in this area in different spawns of this map I've seen. And woodworking already in as well for Unrestricted. And the villager now spots where his opponent is. But there's already 5 bowmen on the field. A couple of the scouts down. And obviously, like I said earlier on, neither player can go for the slinger here. So it might literally just be who can mass the most bows in this matchup. And again, the Hittite bowman is just objectively more powerful than the Assyrian one. Especially as the Assyrian bonus is only, I think it's 11% attack speed in the first stage. And that said, a scout doesn't quite get that villager. Neither working now being researched. As Unrestricted feels a little bit like he has to respect those scouts. But yeah, woodworking now coming in just a little bit later for Bongo. So just the 2 scouts. Haven't managed to get too much done yet. Unrestricted is 2 vills ahead, as I guess just the extra food spent on those scouts pinches that food eco just that little bit extra, so a bit more idle time forced for Bongo. Well, maybe just thought he could on this because it's Sahara. If you can go scout and catch off a few vills, and your opponent's not ready. But obviously, Unrestricted was able to just go double archery range. I think the main problem for Bongo there was he just didn't know exactly where his opponent was, so the initial scout went off this way, so he wasn't really able to like harass the villagers before the unit mass was up. And Restricted attempting to go for some walls. Okay, he's just going to form a little pocket here, as well as try and cover off a bit of the area. I mean, he's gonna chop through most of this wood fairly soon, so he's going to open. I think there's, oh no, there's not quite a gap there, but there's going to be gaps in that fairly soon. Archery range did get built forward, whilst I was a little bit distracted by other things. Crocodile get involved as well, as crocodiles tend to do. And these couple of scouts just being a little bit annoying. Okay, house to block opening the wall there. Villager is going to get caught out here, so that's going to be first blood to Bongo, and that's actually going to give him the villager lead now, as Unrestricted has had a little bit of extra idle TC time. But like I said, oh, actually, Bongo's done a good job of getting the the bowman mass back up though, and yeah, I'm not really sure exactly what happened. I guess it was maybe just whilst he was setting up all those walls, just meant he didn't have as many villagers collecting food for a few moments, as he has got most of his farm set up. Bongo just doing that now. Bongo does have a patch of berries left, and Unrestricted's taking that one. So it'll be, again, interesting to see if both the players just kind of play a little bit more passively. Okay, a couple of scouts are going to get in again, but I don't think they'll be able to do too much with needleworking. Actually, they're going to be able to pick off another villager here, unless it can sneak through. Long arm on that scout there. Picks that off. So that scout's job's actually done in the end of the day. There's one villager picked off though by the scout there. I'd trade a scout for a villager any day. And yep, Unrestricted is just going to work his way up to the Bronze Age, which is what I was trying to get to with my point eventually, was to say it'd be interesting to see the players get a bit more defensive now and then just work their ways to the bronze. Just that couple of shenanigans with a handful of scouts in, and some bows going to pop out, but 4 bows shouldn't really unsettle Unrestricted. He may, okay, never mind. I was going to say may lose a villager here, but that's going to tip Unrestricted off there by hitting the house. That's one of the reasons it's good to put on like no attack stance, so you don't accidentally just start attacking houses and give yourself away. Because obviously it's kind of like coming up to your opponent and just like ringing a bell and like, I'm here, I'm coming. Gives Unrestricted plenty of time to react. He's going to lose the scout, but he's not going to be too bothered by that for the time being. Storage pit just going up on the wood there. How many archery ranges do you... Okay, yeah, so 4 now. Like I said, Hittites with the much faster and cheaper, in fact, half the time and half the cost for wheel. For Hittites means that they're Unrestricted will be able to get those chariot archers up and running pretty pronto. Where the other thing is, just like I said earlier, the Hittite cavalry archers, chariot archers are just stronger than Assyrian chariot archers as well. Especially once you get nobility in, which Unrestricted doesn't have the gold for at the moment, but you can always just... Actually, no, his gold is actually a little bit outside of his base there. Does have a gold up there. He maybe builds a storage pit on the wood. Maybe is another town centre can go up the back there. He does see the gold. Bo's been a little bit pesky. And Unrestricted is just going to go on out and say, get off my lawn. And Bronze Age in now, obviously. And the wheel. And the chariot archer. Spam begins, whilst Bongo is only about 60% of the way up. And he's trying to... He's actually only got the... I was going to say put some towers down, but he's literally just got the one. And he's not getting any more stone. Bongo's actually collecting gold, though. So maybe he's just going to go for... Is that just going to be for cavalry? Is he just going to try and spam cavalry in response? But yeah, it's going to be behind on the numbers, and Arsenal's ship already coming in for Unrestricted. I think that was a bowman. Just got absolutely annihilated by those 15 bows there. And Unrestricted is pretty much fully walled now. Obviously, he does have a few like houses in his wall, so there are some weak spots. But there's no immediate point of entry that I can see, at least. And okay, town centre. I think I put that town centre like here, but either way, he's on that gold. First couple of C8 coming forward. Bongo does have the high ground there. But I think Unrestricted does have... Oh no, actually Bongo does have a good number, but the Chariot Archers should make the difference here. So it is actually going to be cavalry for the time being. But, I mean, even these basic bowmen still have the +1 damage, which is going to be a little bit difficult for even... for a low number of cavalry to charge into. Again, he does have all the bowmen left. And he does have a high ground, which I feel like Unrestricted should be doing a little bit of a better job trying to get his bows on top of that high ground. But +4 armor coming in, as he now sees the cavalry is the response. It's a wise pickup as he starts getting himself to gold, and I imagine we'll see the nobility upgrade coming around here in the near future. Bows will get picked off by... Actually, maybe, like I said, the +1 attack. Putting some good work then. They do manage to take that cavalry unit down. Does have 8 cavalry on the field, and then we go nobility in. 16 chariot archers down, +4 armor in now, +4 attack as well for Bongo, so obviously he's getting all the things he needs in. But again, Syrians, no nobility, so all of their mounted units are just lacking in the HP department, which is particularly important against Hittites with all the damage they can do. So an extra cavalry unit just going to get picked off it. Okay, I guess without ballistics in, maybe that cavalry just saunters on through and he's fine. Bongo, interestingly, has a decent points lead here. I'm not exactly sure where it's coming from. Well, a couple of villagers go down. And cavalry going to try and close up. Bongo trying to house wall. Chariot archers do squeeze through though, just in time. And again, I feel like Unrestricted, all he needs to do is sit on top of this little hill here, and he'll be able to easily take this fight now. But Bongo making a fight of it. Academy coming forward. Might be a little bit too soon to go for that play, but Unrestricted feeling confident at the very least. And yeah, like I said, these Hittite chariot archers, they're on another level. They simply are. I need towers. I don't think towers do anything against chariot archers. And also, obviously, the Hittites to get the more healthy stone throwers as well, so they can just bring those in once they've got to secure the position. But yeah, the tower. I mean, obviously the towers can protect pockets, but the CA can just move, and GG's called. Like I said, I've said in the past, I feel like this is just a Hittite-sided matchup. It's like too much. The Hittites just are a better version of this series. Yeah. GG's 2-1. And like those early scouts, again, Bongo did try to go for the say my name, I say in air quotes, play. But the stable, a little bit far away, which I said I didn't mind, but the main problem was just the initial 2 scouts, obviously just going in the wrong direction, and then that gave Unrestricted just the time to get a big enough mass of bows that he could, well, and also get that tower up as well. Just fend the initial push off. Like, if those scouts get in maybe a minute earlier, maybe a couple of vills go down, and then maybe you're talking about Bongo just squeaking an advantage and just going from there. But yeah, like I said, in this matchup, it just feels like if the Hittites ever get to the Bronze Age in an okay time, the Assyrians play is just going to struggle. And like I said, 2-1. Still, pretty even series. Bongo tried to respond with the cavalry, but yeah, just with how quickly the wheel comes out and how much earlier Unrestricted was to the Bronze Age, he was just never going to get those cavalry numbers up really in time. Probably was his best choice, to be honest, but like I said, it was just always going to be difficult in that position. Why does the Syrian usually win that matchup? Explain to me. As I go back to the draft. Okay, so next map is going to be Inside Out. And we see the Hittites win against the Syrian. So inside out, will we see Unrestricted try to sneak the Greeks? Possibly the Egyptians from Bongo. I feel like people really, really overstate the eco, but like if you go and test the Assyrian eco bonus, it's like less than 1%, like literally less than 1% of a gather bonus. Win because Hittites do overkill. I mean, if you push hunt, then it shouldn't make a difference. And if you've got elephants, you just pull that back to TC. And even then, like, the hunt has to be so far away for the... Because you've got to think that, like, most of the time the villagers are gathering the resources, they're not moving. So it's only that moment that they move, and then in that time they're only moving 10% faster. It's like minuscule amounts of bonus for the eco. The best thing about the bonus is like being able to explore better. And like I said, send the forward villagers. But like as an eco bonus, it's close to like nothing. It's close to just like not even having a bonus. And then, like I said, the Hittite bowmen are just stronger. So it's like, yeah, you can have overkill, but like you could literally just split your bows into 2 groups and just micro 2 groups, and they just do more damage. I actually did some testing of that in early Return of Rome, and I found that it made absolutely no difference. But then I think it was Thaya said he checked, and he said it did, and then I didn't bother to check if Thaya was right or not. So it could be, you could be right, Jesse, but I'm not 100% sure. But then also, once wheels in anyway, the relative difference is like reduced again. So at that point, it basically does nothing. Well, I'm just saying, like, from the bonuses, yeah, they shouldn't. Like, the Hittite Archer bonus just is better. I mean, that's fair. You can have your own opinion. But I just, like, the Hittite bowman is just objectively stronger. And like I said, the 10% villager speed just, I feel like, shouldn't do as much. But obviously, you guys are way better than the game that I am. I would personally pick Hittites every single time in that matchup. Anyway, the next game started, so I'll get into the next game. Stop arguing with Yetu. So, like I said, next map is Inside Out, and we're going to see the Palmyrans. Okay, so Palmyrans have not been saved for Ocean Ring shenanigans. They are being used on Inside Out here, but it is the Egyptians from Bongo. I feel like that's probably a sensible choice. Can outrun arrows easily. Running away from arrows doesn't sound like you're winning a game, though. All right, we've got some cooking, Jesse. We've got some cooking. I think we're gonna reach the point that water maps are gonna come out in the end. But like I said, we're gonna see the Palmyrans from Unrestricted against the Egyptians from TakeawayBongo. And as we all know, the Egyptian chariots are also quite nice. They're not quite as aggro as the Assyrians or the Hittite chariot archers, but they do have a big chunky butt. They're very tanky with a 33% extra HP, as well as they have nobility as well added on. Oh, that's the other I didn't even mention that. Like, Assyrians don't even get nobility, which, like, I feel like is just like an auto lose to Hittites in the Bronze Age. But anyhoozle, we'll focus on this game for now, as we see Bongo deleting his sidewalls. We'll have a look at the old berries, nice double back burrows for Bongo, and in fact he spots one of them with the wall, which is always quite nice when you can know where that is. But I'm just doing any looking, and both back for Unrestricted, and you can see one of his as well. That one's slightly off to the side But I imagine just because he can see that from the off that he probably will just go for that one as his second berry patch. So that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Normally it's a little bit better if it's here, because then you can just like wall from here to here and tuck those berries inside the wall. Normally we don't see like too much action on the outer ring of inside out early on, as cavalry isn't usually a go-to unit on this map. It's quite a long way to walk if you're not on a horse, so we do normally just see the action in the middle ground. And potentially Unrestricted goes for 16 Villa Sling Rush with Palmyran still hit to just try and stop the Egyptians from getting to that very nice Bronze Age that they do have. Obviously the Palmyrans, no eco slouch themselves, they just don't have, well, I guess they've got the strong camels. Palmyran's the faster moving camel, right? I always get confused between the Cimmerian one. I think Cimmerian's the one pierce armor camel, right? And I mean, we have Ocean Ring and Conti as our water maps that are in the map pool. Yeah, potentially. Again, I actually want to do the maths on the Palmyran 16 Vil Rush, because I feel like it isn't as good as you guys say it is again. But I was thinking I was gonna sit down with a calculator and work out the food costs, but that'll be for another time. I mean, I've seen it work, to be fair. The 16 Vil Slinger. You go 18, okay? Interesting. Because I remember Unrestricted was like, yeah, they work 25% faster. I'm like, well, yeah, but the villagers are also 50% more expensive. So it takes a while to actually make up the difference. So you are actually net down on food for a good part of the early game as Palmyrans. I'm just not exactly sure when that crossover happens where you start going ahead. Like, obviously, if it's an all-in game and both players stop making villages, then you just are ahead as Palmyrans. But he's actually gone 20 vil up, and that's he's only got 23 seconds idle time there, which is actually pretty good considering. And 21 up, 22 up. Yeah, sorry, from Bongo. Villager is going to come out now. They're just coming over to the wood. And not quite enough wood for the first barracks there. Oh, this one here. Yeah, that would have been a bit bad if that was blocked. But yeah, there is a very small gap. Barracks does now come down. But Bongo only, I think, if my maths is correct, that's only 19 seconds behind going to the Tool Age, although that bar makes it look like it's longer than 20 seconds. Made it 2 extra villages, but then, yeah, it should be 19 seconds, right? Or maybe 21 seconds, and we'll get confused which way around it is. Should we count? I guess we'll look here. 803. Everyone remember 803 as the first clubber comes through. It's only 1 barracks though. I don't know, maybe this is just a distraction ploy and it's going to try and just go to bronze up behind it. So 803. It was 21 seconds. It just looked longer. Yeah, fake rush. I'm starting to think it might be a fake rush as well. And Bongo has gone for 2 barracks response. So arguably, yeah, he's committing heavily to slingers. So I think this is fake rush successful. So Unrestricted going with the mind games here. I don't think I've ever seen KT play on Muddy Water. I haven't, to be fair, I've not seen all the games that get played, but is that a map you'd like to go to, KT? I don't think you ever picked it against me in the last Legion games we played. But anyway, focus back on the game. I think the jig is up, as Bongo has cancelled a bunch of his slingers, but in this time, Unrestricted has clicked Bronze Age. And he's on 21 vils, which is obviously behind in count, but these are working faster. And Bongo's going to be a little bit behind as he's committed those extra resources to military buildings. He's going to grab some of those berries at the back there. Unrestricted getting those berries hit. Archery range is going to go down in the middle of the map, which that might be... That might be a mistake if Bongo gets control of the middle ground. I guess you'd assume that because Palmyra Unrestricted is going to get the Bronze Age first, he should have the first Bronze Age military out on the field. Camel Siege incoming. I mean, Palmyrans, I believe, get every tool. They get basically the whole tech tree, right, in the Bronze Age. So, don't necessarily have to go camels. They could just go cavalry if they wanted to, and he is indeed going cavalry. I think cavalry are just the stronger all-round unit. Camels still have some bonus damage against chariots, but it's not quite as much. Compies. I mean, funnily, the Egyptians can make compies, which feels kind of really redundant. Because, like, why would you ever make compies as the Egyptians? But anyway, I guess that archery range was literally just to unlock the siege workshop. Yeah, he's not going to make any bows. But yeah, again, like I said, cavalry has been the option from Restricted, and the siege is going to come down fairly quick. Doesn't really have the wood eco at the moment, but maybe only needs like the single. Ooh, the one slinger is going to be annoying here. Cavalry is going to come sort that out, but that is going to delay the siege workshop going up, which is going to give Bongo some extra time to get to the Bronze Age. He still has to research the wheel. It's quite a long tech when you're not the Hittites, a minute and a half. And I think it might be open here until these last couple of wars get closed up as the gate is about to come down. I think Bongo should be fine though. Well, I say that until the stone thrower comes out. Just base chariot built by Unrestricted. I don't know if that was a misclick. Normally you don't want to go chariot for chariot into the Egyptians. And yeah, you're just getting all the stable units out. There's just one of each. Yeah, it is 9 vil difference, but Unrestricted does essentially have 5 extra vils, so it doesn't look as bad as what we're seeing here. Like I said, he's right on the borderline for resources at the moment. Wheel is just about in now. Temple going up to try and deal with those cavalry units. Maybe that was the reasoning behind the chariot, actually, thinking about it. Maybe Restricted big-brained the priest response. No chariot archers in queue just yet for Bongo. Looks like he's... Okay, there we go. He's trying to muster a defense. The problem here is just going to be the stone thrower for the time being. Potentially this stone thrower does get converted. All three villagers going down there though. That's a big hit. And Unrestricted still pushing forward. Don't want to. Ooh, another villager goes down. And yeah, Bongo just trying to pull something together. Just the singular chariot archer. The priest is out. And this is the Egyptian priest. And like extra range. So yeah, is he going to get the conversion out? Is it even worth deleting that? Might be worth just... I guess you could just clear it up. It wasn't really worth deleting it. Yeah, another villager goes down. But yeah, I guess, like I said, the chariot probably just try and deal with the priests. But obviously the chariot has to actually reach the priest. Chariot archers being added in. Now that sounds like a bit of a stronger ploy. And some more, if the priest goes down, I imagine a couple of these villagers will as well. And whoa, lock your gates, boys and girls, lock your gates. You can lock them whilst you're building them. He's going to convert a cavalry there. I think I would have converted the camel personally, but it is what it is. Yeah, the priests just trying to do their best to hold the position for the time being. Another stone thrower is out on the field. And the pressure is on. Bongo's still with a decent eco lead for the time being, but all hands are being forced to the deck to try and stop the flood of the incoming Palmyran hordes. And like I said, the stone thrower may be the one to crack this open. Priest a little bit close in there. I guess he was trying to reach the stone thrower at the back. And Unrestricted, yeah, not any extra chariot archers, but the chariots are in. And Bongo does have some semblance of an army, but it's a little bit scattered all over the place. I think the priests are out of whatever the resources coordinator Empires 1. My brain's, is it favour? But yeah, stone. It just looks like an absolute labyrinth of walls at the moment. Stone throwers trying to clear the path. Yeah, like I said, chariots. I feel like at this point, all Bongo needs to do though is get a couple of stables down. He has the wood, and then just make regular chariots of his own. Like in the long run, going, like I said, going a chariot for chariot with the Egyptians should be a losing formula. But Bongo has been, like, even though he has the eco edge, he has been sort of forced to play defensively and make sure to try and hold the position. Unrestricted looks like he's going to try and focus a bit on expanding his eco now and try and catch up a bit in the eco numbers. Priests coming forward, these pesky priests. And I'm going to have actually, I don't usually do this often, but I'm going to have a quick look at the eco collected, and it is actually, yeah, dead even. I was thinking Bongo may have a slight edge. Obviously, KD very heavily in Unrestricted's favour, so more damage done there. But Bongo's managed to hold. I mean, I think Bongo's in a pretty nice position in this game, Oric. But yeah, obviously the Egyptian's just quite a nice civ on this map. I mean, if you watched Hera's performance in the Dawn of the Ages AO1 tournament, then I don't know, I think I might still back Bongo. That was like 2 years ago now, though, but Hera definitely not an AOE1 player. Some more conversions going on. That Chariot Archer bites the dust. Arsenalship only just coming in now. Like I said, Bongo kind of only just had this last couple of minutes of respite while both the players sort of set themselves up. Bongo is already on 4 TCs though, and like I said, it is 75 food villagers for Palmyran, so it's a little bit difficult to keep massing the villagers until you get your food eco set up, which to be fair, Unrestricted looks like he does at this point now. It's got 22 vills on food. And slight edge in military count. Bongo getting a few of the techs in, not actually adding any military as of yet, just going for the macro approach. I feel like Bongo probably will need to try and push something out fairly soon. I guess unless he just wants to go to the Iron Age, but we've seen how Iron Ages go on the closed maps. Obviously, I think the Palmyrans missed quite a few techs. Are they only missing the last attack tech actually for their side chariot? Obviously, the Egyptian side chariot just a lot better. But we saw Unrestricted versus Say My Name, how long Unrestricted was able to hold against the Egyptians in the Iron Age. The Iron Age siege for Egyptians, obviously non-existent, so just being stuck on that stone throw sometimes makes the forward push a little bit difficult. And actually, yeah, a little bit of squad on the flank there, but Bongo's actually probably going to get this wall in just in time. In fact, both players kind of walling up. It just feels like we're setting up for the long game now. A whole bunch of priests are going to come forward. Okay, improved bowman. So maybe Jesse was prophesizing the compy for at this point in the game. He's going to get a couple of conversions there, and actually priests get away with that. I thought they might potentially get punished there. That's a pretty big swing in the favour of Bongo now. Now he's putting his foot down on the military units. Double siege workshop right in his opponent's face. Composite bowman coming in. And obviously the compies do more damage than the chariot archers do. But they're a hell of a lot more squishy than these Egyptian chariot archers especially. Is that with nobility in that health? I think it's not, right? I don't think he has. Yeah, he doesn't have nobility just yet. So Bongo can add that in at some point. And also the armor tech. Is that gonna be... Do you think that maybe that's more chariots just to try and charge down the priests? I'm not exactly sure. I guess maybe that's, he just wanted the tool tech. That first compy going to get converted. And there's a whole lot of archery ranges down for Bongo. It's 8 now. Ooh, there's a few chariots that did actually manage to squeak through. Looks like that building up there. Ooh, and this is open. This could be a few villager kills. Bongo does have an army waiting. So, but I think, yeah, Unrestricted is going to be able to get a few vill kills in. Maybe not enough. It's 90 to 67. Still eco in Bongo's favour. Well, it's fairly close still, just because of the faster working Palmyrans. Egyptian priests going to work, and that stone thrower also going to work, getting a little bit of a splat in. Like I said, Bongo is missing the nobility upgrade, but maybe he doesn't really need it. He's going to be able to pick off a few priests, so maybe these priests should have been pulled back, and finally the nobility is coming in now. But yeah, I think these Egyptian chariot archers may be just a little bit too tanky to deal with composite bowmen. Especially with the priest there that can do a little bit of healing as well. Bongo kind of throwing his priests away a little bit here, but ultimately winning out the military front. You can see he's triple the military count at this point. Nobility nearly in now. Catapults have been made, but I've said before I'm not a huge fan of the catapult as a counter to chariot archers, and indeed one of them got converted. Just because, especially Egyptian ones, the Egyptian chariot archers can literally truck a couple of stone thrower boulders right to the face and still carry on going. But I think this is starting to look a little bit one-sided now. Unrestricted, unfortunately, didn't quite crack through the base, and Bongo just about able to keep himself ahead eco-wise against the powerful Palmyran eco. And stone thrower is coming from the back here, but I don't think there's really a unit that Unrestricted can make to bring this back into contention. He's trying to just tech into towers now to form some sort of defense. Every winner's deserves to win. I mean, sometimes people do like scummy strats, maybe they don't. But yeah, in we come with the chariots. 17 compies, but like I said, I think these chariot archers are just a bit too tanky. And Bongo not even really microing, he's just letting the chariot archers do their thing. Stone throw at the back, get a couple of shots in, GG. And yeah, maybe Unrestricted. I mean, it was at the time we said it was a big brain play when he went for the fake forward. Unrestricted did get to that Bronze Age first. And he did try to push in, but unfortunately for him, Bongo did just enough to keep the push out. And I did say right very early on as well, cavalry not usually the go-to on the more closed maps, just because it's like, obviously you don't really need the mobility and they're quite an expensive unit. I guess he was just trying to anticipate the Egyptian chariots. I guess they just do have quite a high attack as well. But he obviously felt like he needed to get some push done, but Bongo just able to hold the position. Those priests able to hold the line. That's my dinner trying to take me over there. That's one of the things about Palmyrans, it's a bit hard to do this and just add eco in. And the Unrestricted was sort of like on a lower eco count for some of that, a lot of that time. So even though he actually got like quite a few Vil kills in, with the Stone Throws especially, there was that big moment. I think, I guess they were all quite low. So obviously that looked a little bit more overkill when it first happened, but those villagers were all low. Okay, quite a few villager kills did come in, but yeah, just enough conversions and enough units to hand. Bongo could hold the position, like I said, Unrestricted, not able to quite add in as much eco as you'd like behind this. And Bongo already set himself up on the third TC, whereas Palmyrans still only in the one there. So that brings us to 2-2. And like I said, very close series. And we'll see what the next map's going to be. And I'll restart Capture Age so we don't hear the burning noise. And the next map is going to be... where am I going? If I press that key so that you didn't have to see that screen. Evidently I did not. Let me just check. Yeah, okay. So they're still hovering inside out, which is obviously not going to happen again. Palmyrans losing out to the Egyptians. So the next maps we could have a Conti inland and ocean ring. So there's going to be some sort of water for sure. So Jesse can be pleased about that. And it is going to be inland is going to be where we go to. So Unrestricted picking Bongo's inland map. And be interesting to see. Greeks don't feel like a great civ for the remaining maps for Unrestricted. Maybe he pulls out the Macedonians here. Why would he get inland though? Maybe he just goes Phoenicians or Carth actually and just tries to strong arm the win in this game. Possibly we see Romans here from Bongo. Would be my guess. But then again, I still have no idea what civs. Yeah, like you can't play Minoans on both Conti and Ocean Ring. So I'm trying to think what the other water civ might be. Maybe Romans get saved for Conti. Yeah, it's just a little bit tough once you get squeezed this far into a series. Yeah, like I said, we're still in the lobby. Just gonna have a little drink whilst we wait. But yeah, like I said, inland is going to be the choice. Thanks you for the follow, Damon. Welcome to the stream, if it is your first time. I'm not sure. Maybe they've just called a quick 5-minute break. I hope not. As I want to see the action. So like we're 4 games in to our best of 7. I mean, we're guaranteed 2 more matches, games at least. Someone's got to get to 4. And so like I said, we're going very deep into the draft picks now. And some potentially suboptimal choices to have to make. Okay, there we go. Game is launched now. So I'm going to say final. My final guess is I'm going to say... I don't even want to guess. You know what? I'm not even going to guess. I'm just going to have a look. I can't call it. What do you guys think? We're on inland. Greek for Ocean Ring and Foe on Conti. Well, you could be right, because he has picked Karth now, so 1 point to Mini Yeti. And I'll give you 2 points if you can get them both right. What do you think Bongo's gone for? So his choices were Minoans, Romans, Chosen, and Babylonians. Babby for Bongo. Oh, unlucky Yeti. You don't win the star prize. It is... Oh, well, I've ruined it now, Jesse. Sorry. It's going to be the Chosen from Bongo. I said the civs. Sorry, guys. I dropped the ball on that one. But yeah, I think potentially... I think you probably want Minoans for Ocean Ring. And I guess Romans will be Bongo's Conti pick. Would be my guess. Greek on Ocean Ring. I feel like the Greeks... I mean, obviously they do have the faster moving ships. But yeah, maybe it's just hard to contest with the Minoans. So maybe you just throw Greeks in there just because at least they have AOE water bonus. I mean, I don't know about OP. Like, and if you're even numbers, then yeah, like obviously you can kite quite well. But if you can just outmass your opponent, you can just force the engage. So, I mean, like the Greeks do definitely have options on the map. It's just Minoan's very strong. Minoan's very strong at war. Okay, so we do have one of these inland maps where we don't have the central river. It's just the outer water. There's a long strip of water on the top side next to Unrestricted. And did have some fish there. Did he not spot that? He did. He only spotted the one. Didn't fancy. No. And we have a re from Bongo. I guess he didn't find any shore fish straight away. There was some there. Interesting. What is this lion doing here? Someone help this lion, man. This is messed up. Someone get transport ship out for that lion. Anyway. Who's left that lion there? But yeah, we'll get ourselves... It's like, you know, when you see those like nature documentaries, it's like a polar bear flying on an iceberg. You've just got like a lion just on a reef. Oh dear, excellent. But yeah, we'll get ourselves back into game ASAP. Bongo just calling re. I guess he just didn't find a decent spot for an early dock or storage pit, and maybe that's what he was going for. Oh, they've already jumped back in actually, so we can just go straight back in. There is the small spectator delay, so a little bit of time to burn until we got the next game coming in. But yeah, like I said, 2-2 even series. I feel like Carthaginians should have the edge here over Chosen. Chosen do get some nice savings on their storage pit techs, which are actually more than I thought. I'd never actually gone in to calculate the actual savings they make in at the storage pit, but it's actually like quite a significant amount if you go for scouts as well. You ask that every stream, Katie, and I tell you every time why I don't do it. Like, all the AOE1 players that care about Return of Rome are on the Discord. And technically we are on Age of Empires 2, as that thing in the middle of my screen just shows. I mean, I might be a NAB streamer, but I just feel like it's better to go in the AOE2 category. We get the occasional raid, now and again, from the odd AOE2 players. Okay, this time... I feel like you said that like literally the very first stream. I think it was you said about my voice. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. But yeah, like this time, we do get the river in the centre of the map. So obviously a very different spawn hit. That was like over a year ago now. Been quite a while. No lions out on the water today, just a croc. He's a little bit more home in the water. But yeah, obviously the river connecting all the way to the little pool of water here, which actually could be quite good for Unrestricted, because it means that he could wrap scout ships around to try and control the water. The crossing, I mean. Actually, yeah, that said, I've not really paid attention. Bongo's right next to the crossing there, so he should relatively easily be able to get control of the crossing there. But yeah, obviously this means that Bongo's got his own private pool, which is always quite nice to have for fishing. And yeah, I did see that. So I don't think Bongo will go for that too early. If we get ourselves deeper into the tool age, I think maybe I'll put a dock down on there. Better player. If only ROR, I mean... I mean, fishing traps... don't get... There's only certain maps they even really get used on AOE2. Just because like the water's normally open, so like by the time fishing traps are even relevant, like most of your fishing ships are usually dead. Also, in AOE1 you get the fishing ship upgrade, which is like ridiculous as well. Like the ships are so fast that like deep water might as well be right next to your dock. Now that speed upgrade does make a big difference to your eco. Unlike this. Oh, shut up. But anyway, focusing back on this game. Okay, Storage Pit is going up on the wood line there. He's going to be able to grab those couple of box turtles as well. And also pushing in the gazelle. I don't think they would be... I think it's the exact opposite. I think they'd be terrible. Like, why would you... You just get them instantly... Like, the best thing about fishing ships in this game is, like I said, they're just really fast. So you can just move them away. So why would you want to make them stationary next to a dock when all the war galleys come in? Anyway, Unrestricted. Clicking up 19 bills and 0 idle time. Obviously the Carthaginians with that extra 50 food bonus makes that task somewhat easier, and the villager already coming down. I think Bongo only just spotting the crossing now. I'm going to grab a couple of elephants and probably, okay, may not see the villager now as he, interesting. So where's this villager going to go now? What's the idea? But anyway, either way, Bongo is not going to see the forward villager. Barracks is going to come down. And Unrestricted, putting that down quite... I guess this gives him enough time to maybe get a couple of clubbers out. And that's going to be instantly converted. So he knows he's already in the right sort of position. But this is going to give the forward away now. So now, Bongo does now. No. Barracks will go up. Is there a barracks for Bongo? He does have the wood. Where's he going to go? Have I missed the forward villager by Bongo? I don't think I have. Okay, barracks just going at the back here. There's a small gap between the stone and the barracks there, which hopefully that's... I mean, obviously it's quite wide open anyway. And Clubber coming out. to play. This villager may go down. Archer range going to be the follow-up straight away from Unrestricted. So no double barracks shenanigans, and it is going to be double barracks for Bongo. It's going to be a little bit slower up as the Chosen, although he has got 20 pop as well, so it's about 40-ish seconds slower at the end. But Unrestricted not going for the AXA upgrade is going to give Bongo some time. Okay, so actually he is trying to wall here, so maybe that get... Oh, right, there we go. Bongo wise to that play. He has house walled over here, and he's walling over here as well, so it's actually going to be fully sealed in. If only house wall this section here. And the bows not going to be able to do too much for the time being. If Bongo can get these walls in here as well, he's going to be especially in a good position. And yeah, this is where this private pool may come into its own. I don't think there's a huge amount of fish in there, that I said, actually. But that's a pretty good amount of food, actually, 1,700 in the box turtles alone there. But yeah, the two important blocks of the wall built up before that bowman could be too pesky. Battle axe upgrade is going to be in. And, okay, forward dock here. There is one dock at home as well, just queuing up a fishing boat. Looks like... Is he housed? Yeah, he's housed at the moment, that's why that's not going up. A couple of houses do come down though. So Restricted actually has a pretty good eco lead for the time being. But Bongo does have himself sealed up quite nicely. First scout ship, where is that coming? Oh, it's from this dock here, obviously, that my eyes had failed to spot until this moment, and this villager may go down. 2 more shots, down she goes. 1 for 1 now, obviously that initial villager that was trying to wrap around the barracks. Transport ship, ooh, interesting. Unrestricted, going for this transport ship straight away. Bongo looks like he's trying to block that off almost, but it's going to get through, 150 HP. The axes are in. And big transport plays being made. Slingers are ready. They don't have stone mining though, I'm pretty sure. So his axe is going to be a little bit of an issue. So that was pretty heads-up play from Unrestricted. And villagers do have needlework in, sorry. Slinger's just trying to kite out for the time being. 2 villagers have been killed though. More. And are we going to lose another one here? Looks like the axes aren't actually going to get too much damage done. But then we go another load of units coming in. And Bongo not make any units on the land. So Unrestricted making real good use of this transport ship. Lames the elephant as well. So that's a whole bunch of food down the drain. Archer range coming up and still no units on the land. Bongo's still just making scout ships. And I think this could be game. Another group of military units coming in. All the villagers being conscripted into the army. 8 kills, 9 kills. And I think this is going to be a pretty quick one, boys and girls. That was very nice. Like I said, heads up play from Unrestricted there. Just... yeah, obviously, I mean, it's like not that flashy of a play, but just have like the headspace to think in the moment, just do transport and go in. So it's like, obviously, it's only a small thing, but it made all the difference there. So yeah, just very quick thinking, Unrestricted, just that forward dock. I was thinking just scout ships coming out from it, but yeah, just this transport ship straight away. And I think it was straight away, right? Da, 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 da. Yeah, okay, yeah, so yeah, he knew exactly what he was doing. Had the plan ready in motion and pulled the units back. And that's why I hate that's why I hate inland. Because the maps are always really wacky and you can do weird stuff like that. And obviously Bongo not ready for that transport ship there. Just like how random this map is always puts me off. A lot of players still love this map just because it's a AOE1 classic, but not a huge fan of it personally. But anyway, like I said, Unrestricted taking a 3-2 lead now. That was the Carthaginians used for Unrestricted though, so like I was saying about the Yamato earlier for Bongo, that nice civ for Unrestricted now gone as well. So like I said, Carthaginians gonna have one up against the Chosen. And that leaves us with Continental and Ocean Ring. And yeah, he's calling Greeks on Ocean Ring. And Ocean Ring is the map of choice. I still personally feel like the Minoans should win this matchup, but obviously the Greeks, faster moving ships, if you can get somewhat even ship matchups, you can try and well, you get to pick the fights yourselves as the Greeks, I guess. But I just feel like the Minoans should just be able to mass up a bigger navy and just force the fights. But we'll see if Unrestricted can make the most of that civ, if in fact he does pick that. You could still potentially go Phoenicians, but I feel like you want to save the Phoenicians for Continental. Maybe you could use Macedonians on Continental, and you probably play up into the Romans, which actually wouldn't be... actually, that's probably maybe not the best matchup, actually, for Macedonians. We'll see how it goes, though. And indeed... Oh, okay, it is the Phoenicians out of Unrestricted. So... Yeah, okay. So he's just trying to match the cheaper ships with the better wood eco of the Phoenicians. And... Phoenicians can keep up in the early game. It's just if it gets to the Bronze Age, like, just the bonus getting bigger and bigger for the Minoans makes it a little bit hard to keep up later stages in the game against the Minoans and the water maps. Obviously, the Phoenicians can maybe try and do something a bit more... I've gone to the wrong screen again, sorry. I meant to go to the actual game screen. Could potentially try and do something a bit more on the land in the early game. The Minoan bonus is only obviously applying to the dock, really, until you... Well, yeah, later in the game. Yeah, I guess, yeah, Greeks do get the cheaper market, don't they? So you can get to that tech a bit quicker. But, like, the cheaper market isn't anywhere near as good as having a bunch of cheaper docks and cheaper ships. So, I don't know. Yeah, but once you built, like, 10 scout ships, I don't think it makes up for that difference. Anywho, we'll get ourselves into the capture age view instead of the regular game view. As obviously both players going for the elephant grab. Potentially we could see a re if players aren't too happy with their maps here. They're crossing very wide for Unrestricted, very wide for both players in fact. So it's not going to be easy to defend if one of the players does go for a push on the land. Like I said, Phoenicians potentially stronger at doing that. And that berries... Why are those berries so close to the TC? Like, yeah, this is like a normal berry spawn. Why are those so close to the town centre? I feel like this is like 90 degrees off its regular rotation. Like, this should be here. That's like bizarre. I've never seen... That's weird. Anyway. It is what it is. Oh, Doc already going up for Bongo. So if we see if he's going to go... Maybe that's just to gather from the shore, fish with villagers for the time being. We'll see if he does add in a fishing ship or so. Oh, you just think that the bonus is strong enough right at the start, okay. I guess... Oh yeah. What? Yeah, I mean... I did say we may have potential, re. I don't know if all that... I guess maybe one of the players paused. Let me just go back to the in-game. It's already gone. I can't see it. I don't know Dutch, so... I'm guessing this is saying at what minute can we re, and then you can re at 4 minutes, and then you can't re. I think that's both of Bongo's restarts now, though. Oh no, I've just, I was doing that. You can't even see the chat. I've not changed the capture age view. I just alt tab, but yeah, you can see it there. De hoeveel min moet. I can't speak Dutch. But I'm pretty sure that says when can you re. But anyway, yeah. Get ourselves back out and back in, hopefully ASAP. I might need to close this map down actually. Bongo housed. I didn't notice, but he's no longer housed as we're... Okay, they've already restarted. One minuto on the countdown. As like I said, now into game 6 of the best of 7. Unrestricted. Has been one game up a few times now. Bongo slightly just about keeping himself in the series. Like I said, most of the games have been pretty close though. Though Unrestricted is very decisive transport ship play in that last one. Very quickly wrapped that one up. I think that actually was the quickest game of the series. I'm trying to think back all the way to the Highland game. Obviously, oh yeah, because yeah, the Highland game was kind of lost. Unrestricted got ahead about the 15 or 16 minute mark, but Bongo sort of hung in there for quite a while. Excuse me, a little hiccup coming through. Just as we time down to the game beginning, get ourselves back on the ocean ring. This map, a little bit more regular berry spawns, and gazelle spawn again a little bit annoying for Unrestricted. Actually, I think it was Bongo that had the gazelle that was right next to the map. I think it was on Sahara. It's been a long series. I'm trying to remember everything that's happened so far. Again, the crossings quite big for both players. Though with the tree line this large, maybe you could go like docks on the, but maybe that doesn't work actually. I guess you could maybe go dock here in a house and then a dock there. Maybe that would seal it up. Double forest. You do normally get 2 forests, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you get 2. In fact, it looks like Bongo has like way more wood in this. Let me section this off. Oh, of course, there's all different kinds of trees. Anyone want to get the calculator out? That's like about 7k. That looks visually like a lot more though. Oh no, maybe I'm just wrong. There's 6k in it. These trees 80. They all have 18? Oh yeah, they do all have 18. Okay. I guess because, I don't know, maybe it's just because they were spread out, it made it look like there was more tree. Hello there, Spirit. Welcome to the stream. We've come in at a pivotal moment. Unrestricted on series point. 3-2 up in our best of 7. The winner advances on to the losers finals and obviously gets himself into the top 3, like I said earlier, which will mean they are guaranteed some a prize pool position. Obviously, the higher you finish, the better that prize pool will be. And the loser will go home with nothing. Yeah, obviously, like I said, both players going for the usual elephant start. Looks like Unrestricted trying to pry away. Look, okay, got another gazelle there. Just trying to pry those gazelle away from the edge of the map. It's very irritating when that happens. Potentially Unrestricted could have called a re here. Just, I think he still has both of his. I think we gave the players 2 for the best of 7 series. Gazelle just storage pitted for Bongo. It's actually going to get the value of the fish in there, so that's actually quite a nice storage pit for now. I think ships can cross over those little sections, not that it's probably going to be too relevant. And I spy with my little eye something beginning with V. There's Unrestricted's villagers going on a little Wendy walk already. A couple of them forward. And he's a reasonable way away from being able to forward go up to the tool age just yet. But I thought that was a granary. I thought that was a granary for a second there, but it is a barracks. The barracks is quite far away from his opponent. And again, he still doesn't quite... Okay, he does have the food now. It's going to be 19 vills up and only 8 seconds idle TC time, so that's actually not too bad. I literally just saw the foundation, so I was just like... Well, it's just when the foundation ran down, it was next to the berries. I was like, is he literally just going for these berries? At 6. I think he's... I don't think it's possible for both players to be, like, on connected corners. I could be wrong. Like, sometimes you can get relative... Like, I think I've seen maps where, like, if with Unrestricted here, Bongo could be, like, here. I've seen that. But like I think that's the closest he can spawn is like around here. I don't think it's possible to be in corners connected. But another barracks down, and he's still quite far. And and Bongo is going for those dock blocks I said about. I think he needs a house or some sort of wall here though. So this ain't blocking nothing yet. 23k situation. Who do you mean for Unrestricted? You think this isn't gonna go? Crossing. Oh, is that the secret tech? Is that the secret tech that I never know about? Is that's where your opponent is where the crossing points? Well, the strategy has failed and restricted here, unfortunately. And it looks like... I think there is... Oh no, actually, yeah, so he's already walled it up. So this villager probably is going to die. But Bongo is now basically fully walled and is the Minoans. Like I said, the Phoenicians can still just about keep up at this point. The 15% faster working woodworkers just about keeps you on par with the 15% discount. Actually, no, is it 20%? I think it's 20% actually discount at this point, right? So actually, I think it isn't. But obviously, that discount only applies to ships, whereas the wood is just all wood for the Phoenicians. So it's probably just about even. But the longer the game goes on, the harder it's going to get for the Phoenicians to keep up on the water. Full fish in the middle. I mean, like I said, he does have control of the central map for the time being. Both players are now trying to contest the outer ring, though. And Riz might be able to pick himself up a quick kill. I know woodworking already in for Bongo there. Obviously, that doesn't actually help you actual DPS. So when you're caught this tight in, so yeah, I think this ship is going bye-byes. So that's a nice little pickup for Unrestricted. But do we see many fishing boats? There's only the one fishing boat from Bongo that I can see. And no fishing boats as of yet for Restricted. He's getting the woodworking in now. Obviously, the woodworking is not just for the +1 range, it's going to be making these woodworkers work much faster as well. So Bongo's having that advantage for a minute or so that he's had that edge. Restricted going to be forced to back off it. Repit I mean, it's quite a long ways, but then it's like you want to keep the pump of scout ships going up. But yeah, ideally you'd want to pit again somewhat soon. Scout ship. I mean, that's a good thing for Unrestricted is this second wood here is like quite far tucked away at the back, so you should have access to that for quite a while, even if he gets a bit behind on the water. But like I said, at the moment it has the edge, although the next pumps now actually put Bongo ahead on the unit count. That's a new DE thing, as you can see the dead units here actually, which is an interesting one. I don't know if I do this, if it gets rid of it. So yeah, Bongo pushing forward now. Both players with the woodworking upgrade in. A little bit of micro trying to come out from Unrestricted there. Now just to equalise it a little bit. Reinforcements coming in for Bongo first though. It's going to force Unrestricted to back off, and now it's already double the numbers. And as we know, on water maps, once one player gets an edge, that always tends to snowball into a landslide advantage. And yeah, the Minoan pump in full flow at the moment. 25 villagers on wood. Temporarily 0 on there. I don't know if...
Yes.
Oh, okay, there was a scout on the wood line there. And Unrestricted, I guess, felt like he'd already lost the water there and decides to tap out. And it's just always so tough against the Minoans on the water maps. It kind of feels like you have to try and do some sneaky land shenanigans a lot of the times. Would have been interesting to see the Greeks, like Yeti was saying, like the faster moving ships means you can sometimes get some good fights. But 3-3 means we're going the distance. No, it's best of 7 Spirit, so we got one more game left to go. As it's been a 2-hour series so far. We'll get ourselves into game 5, which is going to be on the last map, which is Continental. So, our leftover civs are the Greeks and the Macedonians for Unrestricted, that I'll just quickly mark off. Greeks and Macedonians for Unrestricted against Babylonians and Romans for Bongo. And dare I say, I feel like the Romans are actually a pretty good shout here. The Greeks, I guess, if they can get themselves set up on the water, could theoretically be quite nice there. But Romans, I think, have the best potential. Maybe Unrestricted does just go for Macedonians. But I feel like that's slightly in favour of Romans still. I feel like I guess if you could go Mace and just go Compies in the Bronze Age. I don't know. I think it's basically. I think it's not even really about civs. I think it's almost entirely down to how the players play, and it is going to be Mace against Romans. So I'm Mace all in rush. I think Romans are pretty strong in the early game though. Not as strong as some of the other civs in the game anymore. But I'm interested. I'm hype. I'm hyped for this game 7. It's going to be an interesting game. I kind of hope it isn't like a rush that just finishes straight away. I'd like to see how these civs play out in the Bronze Age and onwards, because neither of these civs are Chariot Archer civs, which like feels like that unit dominates the Bronze Age a lot of the time. So it's always interesting to see civs face off in the Bronze Age when neither of the civs have access to that unit. Feels like a bit of a rarity. Yeah, I was thinking that. I was thinking with the compies that maybe Mace do have the advantage. But then I don't know if it turns into a circle if like Romans can just go cavalry there. But then Mace... Yeah, I don't know. It might just become down to Compy's hoplites. Yeah, but yeah. Because I mean, like a Macedonian hoplite isn't actually any more, like the pierce armor doesn't apply. Like you're not going to go ranged units as Romans, right? So the extra pierce armor isn't really that relevant. Obviously, it means the Romans can't use priests really. You can still use priests against Macedonians, it's just obviously much less effective. So you don't tend to see that happen. But yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see how this goes. But yeah, I mean, Romans will have a much better time in the water, just because obviously they have the wood savings on all their buildings. Just frees up a little bit extra wood. Get that dock down a bit sooner, potentially. Get a few extra ships out. I don't know. I don't think that's enough of a deciding factor though, because obviously the Roman bonus isn't that. I think it's only 10%, right? I think it's only 10% cheaper buildings. It's not that big of a bonus anymore. It used to be 15% thing, I think, and they got nerfed. Re is called for Unrestricted. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it was just that shore line was just too far away, and he just wasn't happy that it had a bit of idle time. But yeah, Bongo actually went for just the berries. It can be a slight risk going for the shorefish at the start. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like don't think I've seen Mace against Romans, at least for a while. So yeah, like I said, I'm just kind of intrigued how this matchup is going to go when we do get the game remade. It looks like we are remade nice and quickly. Oh yeah, obviously we're behind a couple of minutes, so obviously they're going to have launched by the time I quit out. I don't know how I hadn't clocked that until this point, but it is what it is. Oh, okay. We're already in the game somehow. That caught me off guard. And it's actually... Oh no, Unrestricted is still on the top side again. And he's going to be able to find those fish much quicker. A nice little patch of... In fact, it's hit like the absolute motherload here. Spoilt for choice. Is he going to go for a storage pit? Oh, he's gone for the granary instead. Didn't find it fast enough, I guess. And Bongo, yeah, just going for the granary start himself again. So just not risking the potential idle time that it can cause if you go for those fish first. So obviously it does collect faster, but just the initial income of food is a little bit slower. So sometimes you have a bit of idle TC time. And there we go. Just about that in time to get that villager production continued. I got massively distracted by that bird there, and I was like, I was just following it in my brain. I was like, wait, what am I seeing here? I was like, oh, it's a bird. I'm getting a little bit tired. It's midnight here in the UK. It's been a long series, but it's been a fun one. Both players right on the limit now, going for the full distance. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Not much has happened. Like I said, I was mostly just following a bird for the last 20 seconds there, so you didn't see much. But yeah, Unrestricted did send a villager up to this area, is the main thing. But I think he felt that he'd already spent too much time searching and he'd already started building a granary. So he went for the granary start instead. Like I said, Bongo just weren't going for the granary start that he did in the last game anyway. It looks like he's going to find his elephant as he probably was going to start pushing the gazelle, but he might grab the elephant now. And this villager kind of a bit stuck in the trees there. Like I said, Romans should be able to play the water game a little bit easier. Macedonians' only early bonus is the extra line of sight, which is very nice, to be fair, in a game where you don't have a starting scout. But obviously that doesn't directly convert into an actual advantage. You have to seek advantage with that extra exploration. And the storage pit going up on the wood, and going to be nice next to the shorefish as well. And I guess he'll spot that elephant as well. So Bongo's found most of his resources for the start of the game. Actually, it looks like Unres has actually found both of his elephant as well. And Villager already going out for a bit of a venture. And Jesse was saying the all-in mace rush. And maybe we do see that here. We'll see. Like I said, I kind of don't want this to be over in a quick game. I'm interested to see how the Bronze Age goes for these two sims, but Unrestricted looks like he has other ideas. 20 pop, only 4 seconds idle TC, it's pretty nice for the Macedonians. Bongo clicked up on 19, 29 seconds idle TC, so he's actually 5 seconds slower with 1 villager less. Obviously, he's quote-unquote saved 50 food by not making that extra villager. And Unrestricted, oh man, that sucks. That sucks. I think, I mean, it's still fairly near his opponent, but like, obviously, he's thinking, wrapping around here, and in his mind, I'm pretty sure. I've got a feeling this clubber's going to jump out this side. I mean, it might auto path around this way. It depends where he's set the gather point, I guess. But I think, oh, actually, Bongo's actually gone for forward barracks himself. So we are going to see just the all-out aggro tool age play, which is going to get messy. Okay, the clubber is going to head on over this way. But yeah, a little bit extra different. I mean, I guess, like I said, it's still fairly close, but obviously if the barracks went down here, that would have been a little bit nicer. And yeah, slightly slower tool age for Bongo in the end, like I said. And now he's just trying to close in that wood line. Neither player on a dock yet. And this villager going out from a restricted. I'm not exactly sure the idea was there. I maybe only saw it, well, that villager's down either way. But Unrestricted now knows he's up against a double barracks forward, but he does have clubbers in his opponent's base. And like I said, Bongo just fully seal himself, and he's going to move some villagers over elsewhere just so all his eggs aren't in the one basket, so to speak. Axe upgrade, tool working coming in, leather armor already in as well. And the first dock is on its way. Like I said, the Romans will just have that extra little bit spare of wood to squeak out the odd building here and there, and possibly the odd ship once he gets this dock up. And it is going to be a scout ship first. Unres yet to make a dock of his own. And a very forward archery range here, as Bongo doesn't have any military buildings at home, of course. I think this wood line is thick enough that the bows shouldn't be able to do too much for the time being. Losing a house would leave Bongo housed though. Unrestricted. Slightly behind, I guess, on villagers just because he lost that one villager. Idle TC time sneaking up a little bit for both players here and there. As the early tool age armies start coming out to play. Yeah, indeed, Bongo is housed now. Where do those other villagers? Okay, they made another dock. Just doing some shore fishing at the moment. Another house is going to go down. Watchtower. Sentry Tower is Bronze Age, of course. We're not that far in. And I'm shaking. Jesse feeling the tension. Yeah, of course. Killing houses often is the best thing to do in this game, just because they're so paper thin. A few villagers forced idle. He does jump out just before Needlework comes in, actually. His Axemen don't actually have the armor in just yet. So Bongo could quite easily pick off an axe here. There you can see with the Needlework. Oh, you want to finish that off, mate? Okay, there we go. Don't lose a mill though. It's a little bit sloppy from Bongo. But kind of got that done, I guess. couple of bows now made for Bongo. And let's have a look. See, Unrestricted has done a slightly better job of keeping the eco going. Scout ships wrapping around here. Just the bowman support though. This fight should easily go in favour of Unres. Can he Bongo? No, he's too low. I was going to say maybe pick off a villager, but he's too low HP on that scout ship now. The storage pit, interesting. Can grab that little pool of shorefish that's in the middle. In fact, there's one little pool there. That's a very strange spawn, but either way, just a couple of axes. Yeah, Unres set up. Nearly 4 docks down now to the 2 of Bongos. Like I said, slight eco edge for the time being. Again, the Romans will be saving that small amount of wood here and there. Unrestricted, just passing through. Okay, now decides to shoot the Vil. The Vil does jump into the TC. And I'm pretty sure Bongo... Did Bongo put a tower down in the end? I guess he doesn't have the stone for it. He did research Watchtower, I'm pretty sure, at some point. Axa trying to push its way through the wall. A couple of slingers kind of come in reinforcement as well, so maybe this push to start coming to something. Villagers being pulled into the fight. Again, a few of the armour upgrades missing for Unres, so these villagers are actually able to get in a good amount. Well, they would be able to get in a good amount of damage if they could close the gap, but wasn't quite the case there. Bongo not actually utilising his military there. A little bit just trap. There we go. Finally sorts that out. Woodworking now in for Unrestricted. It's going to help those bows out. But like again, slingers already on the field. No stone mining though. Means that 6 range. Bowman should be able to just stay in relative safety for the time being. Bongo is creeping ahead on the eco count now, as Unrestricted felt the need to invest more food into those bows at the time. I'm just trying to see like how much of that eco is fishing ships, boats I should say. Just the one. Woodworking coming a little bit later for Bongo, but coming in nonetheless. And this is starting to feel like we may be going to a Bronze Age. Obviously, Bongo kind of has a push going. Actually, as I say that, he literally breaks in, so maybe I need to hold my tongue for a brief moment. As the push comes forward. Only 7 bows actually to defend this, so this is actually not a good position at all for Unres at the moment. He's going to throw away a couple of bows here. That's a big mistake at this point in time. So yeah, it's way too early to call the fast bronze. Unrestricted is going to be in a horrible position now. And, I think a few of these villagers are unfortunately going to be lambs to the slaughter. They do manage to make it back to the TC. A bunch of them are forced idle though. But yeah, the slinger numbers pretty high for Bongo, and he has the stone mining in now for the extra 1 damage as well as the 1 range. And what is the response going to be from Unrestricted now? It's going to be difficult to deal with this number of units. Barracks is coming down. Maybe just to make slingers of his own. Stone mining's only going to have stone for 4 slingers though. The villager's going to go down. Do we see another push? It's just the archery range left over. This could be quite big though. The scout ship can come round. But yeah, shooting the wall. These villagers need to get somewhere safe. Woodline's kind of a bit too close. Villagers going down. It's 13 Vil kills already. 14, 15. And I think this might be Bongo. Like I said, I was crazy to call the Bronze Age play at that point. I think Bongo has put himself in position to advance to the losers final here. I don't know what I don't know what Rez can do against what Bongo has here. Romans in game 7 coming in for Bongo. All the wood lines getting denied. Unres just like with no space left. He's going to lose the water as well now. I think that's GG, boys and girls. I think that might be GG. Unrestricted has some resources in the bank. No units are being made though. This may be the head in hands moment when you know the game's slipped away from you. Stable is coming down now. I think that's much too late, unfortunately. He doesn't really have the food to support scouts. And yeah, Villager's been called in. I mean, if you can get some good trades here, can maybe keep him in. Does have +2 armor already on the bows though. He's going to be able to, yeah, and with stone mining in, Bongo's be able to cut this out. And that's going to be GG. And like I said, Unrestricted was ahead or even this entire series. But Bongo winning the game that mattered the most. And Bongo will be the one to advance on to the losers final to play up against Mini Yeti. And I unfortunately didn't get my Bronze Age game in this matchup. But that was still a very exciting one. Yeah, I underestimated the force of Bongo's force there. I think I was like starting to look at the like eco setup and stuff, and I was like, oh, maybe it goes to bronze. And then literally, as I said that, the break-in happened, and then Unrestricted just didn't have the land units to fend off a force this strong. Yeah, a couple of axes got picked off around the TC before you had the armor tech in. But yeah, that was a really nice series from both players. Like I said, Bongo just about able to squeeze it out in the end. Like I said, I think the Romans slightly stronger civ than Macedonians on this map, just because it's a little bit easier for them to play the water. But Bongo just played it also very well as well. Yeah, well, it's been a long series. I don't blame weary hands. I mean, it was you actually still faster than Bongo, to be fair. But yeah, this wood line was just quite nice and thick for Bongo, though. Was one of the things. So like even bows would have actually struggled to shoot over there, like initially when this was down. Like it's quite a nice wood line for Bongo to hide those vills in. And then he sort of separated some of the vills out as well. Alright, yeah. Where is it? It's just a little bit ahead of here. Yeah, because this is needlework. It's just a capture age bug. And yeah, the axes just didn't have the +2 armor in. And yeah, I think you do click it in. Yeah, I think you must have realised here, like, oh shit. But yeah, Bongo was able to pick off those axes without the armor in. Which just goes to show how important that armor upgrade is. But yeah, like that was, like you say, most of your forward gone. I don't know, there's most of these bows at the back. I'm just trying to... Capture Age doesn't do a very good job of showing me where the bows are. But yeah, the forward villager goes down. There's one in here, but like I said, this wood line was kind of too thick to punish the wood line here. And Bongo just managed to set himself quite nicely with a decently sized army. It looks kind of like, I guess you were focused a bit more on the water here. Although Bongo still has the resources to make what he was doing there. And obviously the break-in occurred. And the mixture of bows and slingers just very hard to play into. Yeah, once stone mining was in on the slingers. And yeah, the armor upgrade. Sorry for that. The bows as well. Not really much Unres could have done at that point. Oh, hello, little cat. Trying to look at the chat, I can't see. So yeah, unfortunately for Unres, he is out of the tournament now. Can't see my screen anymore because the cat's just come up on the desk. But congratulations to Bongo, who will advance on to the next round. And hopefully, him and Yeti will be able to schedule their game soon. And so that will be the next game to come up in the competition. You're welcome, Bongo. Good games, good games. I mean, you could switch that league game to being the Clash game. Question mark. Just throwing it out there. Could switch that up. But yeah, you can see it. Unres just ran out of wood lines to go to. And, the ranged units from Bongo just bullying him out of the game. Like there was the last ditch effort at some point with the Vils. I can't see my screen because of the cat. There is a point where some Vils do some fighting. It might have already happened, to be fair. Oh no, here we go, it's right at the very end. But yeah, the archers already had the armour in, and the slingers with the stone mining, and just unfortunately meant that was never going to work. But obviously Unrestricted just going for the last Hail Mary play, didn't go in his favour. Well, that's what you get for relying on tricks and wizardry that I only found about because the guys told me how it worked in the chat. But anyways, like I said, very nice series by both players. And I think that will call us here. It's pretty late in the UK. I've been streaming for 3 hours now. Like I said, hopefully we can get the next series lined up fairly soon between Yeti and Bongo. Are you going to move out of the way, Cat, so I can see the screen? Or are you going to make this awkward for me until the end of the stream? Trying to see my capture age so I can close it. But yeah, thank you to everyone to joining the stream. I don't know if anyone else will be streaming at this time. It's quite late. Actually, no, Jesse is streaming. Are you going to be playing some community games? Sorry, team games, Jesse? Let's have a look. Games? Sorry, team games? Okay, I'm just like playing myself back. Oh, looks like you're showing some of the... Is this Swordsman Lee's games? I'll send people over to you anyway. But yeah. Thanks for watching, and I guess I'll start downloading the VOD for this series Unrestricted if you want to upload it to your channel later. Yeah, thanks, Jesse. And everyone else. Do you want me to download the VOD Unres just before I shut the stream down? See you later, Spirit. Ma'am. I'm not your mama. Alright. Okay, I'll send you over to Jesse, if I can find his name. There he is. He was there for a second and he disappeared. Who won? No spoilers for you, Kitchens. You'll have to watch it back. Someone can tell him who won. It was 4-3 to Bongo.
GG's and good night, everyone. See ya.